Hey guys, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Okay, I've decided at this point officially I need to get like intro music because it's probably so weird to just see my face pop up on the screen. Hey guys, I want to make sure that you guys can see me and hear me okay. You know, I count on my production crew, Team Small Potatoes. We have a big one today. And it's something that I have been working on in the background. As you guys know, we are constantly researching, investigating, making a point to make sure that we're staying 10 steps ahead of them. And I would say, guys, I think we are. So let me make sure that everybody can see me okay. Can you guys let me know in the chat? Hey, Jeannie. Hey, Nash. Hey, Josiah. Am I saying that right? Josiah. Shoot, you'll tell me. I hope that you'll tell me and let me know. Hey, Cryptic. Hi. Hey, guys. Hello. Hi. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Oh, we got Felzone letting us know that we're all good. I know that we were planning on going a little bit later today, but when Candace needed to bump her show, I was like, you know what that means? Maybe we can do it a little bit earlier and just kind of, get it done because we have a lot to go over. And we are just getting started. So I'm like, I want to make sure that it connects on Twitter as well. I'm sorry. I know to the tech overlords, I'm not supposed to call it that, but I just want to make sure that I see. I saw someone on Twitter say that maybe they couldn't hear me. Oh, hi. Hey, Amanda. Okay, sounds like we're good. Oh, good. Yay. Okay. So guys, listen. Here's the thing. We have a lot to go over. As you guys know, I'm always working in the background. I'm always working on projects, and sometimes they take time. This one has taken some time, but it's a topic that I am so excited to talk about. I think if you guys caught the episode that I did with Stu earlier today, you probably have an idea of where we're heading with this investigation. Guys, it's time to talk about Rob McCoy. It's something I've been waiting for. I'm like, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. I have been waiting to talk about Rob McCoy for such a long time. Now, he's not someone that I initially had on my nemesis list super high, but after having discussions with really, really smart investigators, I've had my eye on him for a while. The thing was that he was kind of off the grid. I don't know if you guys recall the fact that Pastor Rob has kind of been MIA pretty much since last year. So if you think about it, he's been somewhere, and he finally came and let us know. Also, guys, I'm like, yes, guys, we will need notebooks out today, notebooks activated. Don't worry, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, baby J. 100%. And let me address this one. Rachel, this is a really great question. Talking about and looking into different things, don't worry. But as you guys can imagine, for the folks that are a little bit more difficult to track down, we have to make sure that we take the time to actually go and do it. So we're on it. And we're working, with other co-investigators to make sure that we have every single thing together, because we know that as soon as we start talking about something, what do? Delete it. Now, I take that as a compliment generally. I'm like, wow, that might mean that we're over the target. Also, oh yes, quick little plug here for my girly pop. Hold on a second. Oh, Allie, where did your comment go? Allie was just saying that she has videos about Rick Cutler. So if you guys are interested in finding out more about Rick Cutler, it sounds like Allie's already on top of it. That's no surprise. She's usually on top of things. In fact, she's one of the folks that helped me start to put the pieces together for our darling Rob. And the other person who helped me, of course, is King B. Baron. He gave us a clue. I was like, guys, I was sitting there. I was like, Dolby has been given a clue because he said Paradise Jets. And that's it. So as you guys can imagine, looking through different tail numbers, looking through, different systems, different databases, it could be a little bit of a challenge. Sometimes you just have to wait them out. And I think we might have. Okay, so Pastor Rob, he is someone who has been part of the puzzle. Now, he hasn't been missing, but he's been MIA. And what that means is that his digital footprint has been significantly reduced up until right about 2 weeks ago. up until right about 2 weeks ago. Up until right about, I would say, August 29th. So on August 29th, according to flight logs, it would appear that our darling Pastor Rob has intentionally tried to stay off the grid. But on the 29th of July, why am I saying, did I say August? Guys, where's my brain? We've been down the rabbit hole. We've been going back years and years. But then we're talking about this year. We're talking about 2 weeks ago. Pastor Rob all of a sudden popped up, didn't he? And why did he do that? You know, I have been thinking about it. I have been sitting there rolling it around in my mind. Where is he? Does he matter that much? Is he really important? Is he central to our story? I mean, we know that he is fun to watch. His old stuff, I would say, is probably better than his new stuff. That's my opinion. But, you know, he always struck me as someone who was just interested in spreading those Judeo-Christian values, that his top priority was going to be spreading those Judeo-Christian values. I was thinking of him as more of someone who was part of the pastoral team more than the fundraising team, if that makes sense. A lot of what I'm doing is working to put the pieces together. Who, in Turning Point, is responsible for fundraising? And who's responsible for outreach? And again, with Pastor Rob being off the grid intentionally for the past year, that's been a little bit challenging to put together. Thankfully, like I said, Allie's been on top of it. So as we started to hunt down and track down where he's been, I got to thinking, you know, it doesn't feel that random. It doesn't feel random, the idea that he's suddenly gone ghost. Now, on August 29th, he flew into Middle Tennessee, didn't he? He went to Franklin, Tennessee, and he went on a podcast, and we're going to play that in just a second. I just want to play like a little clip. It's 1 minute, maybe 2. Oh, yes. So friendly reminder, if you guys don't mind, will you guys do me the biggest favor ever? And will you hit like? And if you haven't subscribed yet, will you please? Also, I know that we are streaming right now on Twitter and also on YouTube. After about maybe like 15-ish, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, we're probably just going to be on YouTube. So I'm going to end the Twitter stream. I just want to make sure that people have the chance to kind of see where we're heading without us giving everything away. So a lot of it, I like to keep it kind of more on YouTube because regardless, you know, Andrew Colbert, friend of the show, we know that they're watching, and that's okay because we already have our ducks in a row. And I like to sometimes make sure that everything is buttoned up before we go public with some piece of information, because otherwise they delete stuff. Not this time. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Kate, did you give me an uncle alert? I love you so much. I do feel like that. Yeah, with my tech skills, guys. Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm really, really good at a few things, and there's a few things I am helpless at. One of those things is definitely managing social media and all that good stuff, but we soldier on. And also the sites that I do feel good about, that's where I spend my time. So that's where my specific interest is. So I make a point to know, guys, I'm getting really close to my goal. Just so you guys know, I'm getting really close to my goal of my OSINT course. There's a OSINT course. It's like a master certification, and that's on like open source information tracking. And so we are getting very close. So every like, every subscribe, every super chat, every sticker, every single one of those things, that helps me because I cannot wait. It is a master course. So I've taken a number of individual ones, and they're, you know, fantastic for things like Google Trends, for things like, you know, different pieces of data. But this one really goes over everything, and it is expensive. So that's why I'm like, it's my goal. That's my fundraiser. It's my bomb dog fund. I think all of my other high IQ gals will know what I'm talking about when I say that. So I'm like, now that we have your attention, Rob McCoy, on the 29th of last month, Rob went to Middle Tennessee. He went to Middle Tennessee specifically so that he could hop on a podcast with a man named, let's see, what's his name? Darren Tyler? Right. Conduit Church. Now, this is absolutely no shade to a small creator, okay? But before that podcast, that episode was featured on Baron. It was featured on Stu. It was featured, I think Allie showed it as well. So it was featured on large creators' platforms. But up until then, that episode, it had about 350 views. Now, this is no shade on Conduit Church. This is not commentary on Conduit Church. We're going to reserve judgment on them because I do think that something that the gentleman says in the video gave me a little bit of a clue as to what could be going on. And guys, I think we might have found something. So what I wanted to do was I wanted us to play just a little teeny clip of that conversation that they had, and then we're going to talk about it. But first, what I want you guys to do me the biggest favor. Let's think about timelines for a second, because when I was watching, I think it was when I was watching it on Baron. So when Baron was talking about it, he was playing part of the clip. And I thought to myself, is there any way on earth that Rob McCoy saw that episode that we talked to Stu about? That's a pretty big platform, right? So hypothetically, maybe he could have seen the episode that we did where we talked about Air Mima and this potential smuggling ring. Because I thought to myself, well, you know, that episode that we did, that was on the 27th of July. That was on the 27th. And on the 29th, you fly to Middle Tennessee and you pop out of nowhere for the past year. You've been in your little hidey hole, except for the times that you've been noted to be in the greatest ally, of course. But you pop your little head up and you give what sounds to me a lot like an excuse. It sounds to me a lot like what someone would say if they were trying to make sure that people knew where they had been and excuse all of those locations that they had recently been going to. Now, I'm not saying that that's what he was saying, but what I'd love for you guys to do, you guys know I count on you guys as like my research team, right? What I'd love for you guys to do, listen to it with that in the back of your mind, if that makes sense. Just listen to it with that in the back of your mind. If someone were coming on a show and they were intentionally there to provide information that was specific and then ramble about other things kind of regardless other than that, just listen with that in mind. Okay, so let's play it. Hold on, hold please, as we always do. We have to share our screen and let's see, away we go. Okay. We are not pulling a Baron today. I can see it and it is going onto the stage. Here we are. Okay. I'm like, we don't have a good day for that. Okay, let's take this one off, put this one on. There he is, man of the hour. Okay, one sec. And I'll mute myself.
I just didn't, I love Charlie. I don't want to grieve his widow or hurt his widow. And I don't want to, feed any of that. I just backed away. I just rode into the sunset. And I didn't know what I was going to do. Charlie had actually told me at my, when I became pastor emeritus, he spoke at my event in June of last year. July, I became pastor emeritus. September, we were in Korea together when he confirmed this, as he did in June. And I had been over in Israel in June. I'd been sent there by Charlie to start Turning Point Israel. I had it all laid out, and I was going to begin in January. And then this hits, and then all this mess happens, and I just thought, I'm going to lay low and do what I do and just do it quietly. Yeah. And so I've just been traveling the country. Wherever anyone invites me to speak, I go. And I've been busy. 36 states, I think, three countries speaking since the time of Charlie's death. And I've been nonstop busy now doing with Pastor Sohn. And I went back over to Israel a couple times. And here's another one. You know that you're on the wrong side when your only response to someone's comment is an ad hominem attack. Yeah. And you come back with the same statement. You're being funded by Israel.
Okay, so I'm like, I want to play one more little clip out of that, but you guys kind of hear what I'm saying. See, specifically, he wants to make a point. I always think, and this is the lens that I always try to pass it through, what are they here to say? What information is he here to give us? Now, throughout the rest of the entire conversation, he answers the man's questions, right? He answers, what is his name, Darren Tyler? Okay, he answers his questions. But why did he decide to tell us that story? What is it that made that story in particular one that he felt was really important to make sure that we were aware of? Why did he feel the need to come 2 days after that information was put out there on a platform that to me is I believe Stu's platform is a big enough platform that I do anticipate if something goes there, I would think, yeah, there's a real potential the Turning Point could have heard that, if that makes sense. Now, excellent point, Jackie. Hold on, I'm gonna pop this on the stage. Jackie, right? Because when was it that we talked about that? When was that part of the narrative? When was that something that was a known thing? And by the way, guys, there is no evidence that it exists. There's no evidence that this actual place exists. I cannot find, you guys let me know if you have found it somewhere, but I can find, propaganda about it. I can find them talking about it here and there. Who are the employees? Where is it located? What what building did you purchase? Who's going to run it? Who's going to be in charge of it? Who's going to set it up? Has it been set up? What is the purpose of it? What is it that you're doing? Is that Judeo-Christian values that you guys are spreading over there? There is no evidence that that actual business has been set up. So why is it important that he tells us that, you know what? That's what I've been doing. That's where I was. That's where I've been. Do you see how? Yes, exactly. You guys, I love reading the chat and I love having time too. This is so great. So, exactly. So, Case. Now, again, around here, we're small potatoes, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. We are not a big channel, but Stu's a big channel. And so, to me, I thought to myself, is it possible? Is that even possible? Well, what have we seen in the past from these people? Well, we've seen the fact that, I don't know, the minute that Baron identified certain tail numbers, they stopped flying those planes, like within days. The minute that the Egyptian planes started becoming a whole thing, what did they do? They have stopped using those planes, guys. They use them overseas now. Just so you guys know, our Egyptian jets, they have flown overseas, but quite literally, since those were identified on Candace, they have not brought them back here. They've only brought one aircraft that belongs to that same fleet. They have brought that back here, but it was for what I believe looks like a genuine maintenance or upgrade repair stop. You know what I mean? You can kind of tell based on how long a jet is in place and what they're doing with it, how often they turn their transponder on and off. And so what I'd say is that it didn't, who knows who caught a ride there back. But other than that, they've stopped flying them. So what is it that we know that they do when they know that people are onto them? They change their behavior. That's a lot of the reason, guys, why I was like, let me just wait before, I start talking about this, because I think that we already know now what would likely happen if for some reason they caught wind of this information on this little show. That's why I'm like, I love being, like a small community kind of, because I'm like, they're not going to watch this, maybe. But that's why when I make sure that I have everything downloaded, documented before bringing it out, because they are watching and they are keeping an eye. It's another reason why sometimes folks will be like, can you just provide a brief summary of what it is that you were talking about? And I'm like, no, because Blake's going to read that. Andrew's going to read that. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I should do that, because basically that's just me emailing them all of our findings. And so the more stuff that they're not aware, that people are aware of, then sometimes it's a little bit easier to keep everything logged in, if that makes sense. So, oh, hey guys. Hi, good evening. Oh, hey, I love seeing names and I know. Hey, Carmen. Hey, Case. So what I would say is, again, we're small potatoes, but it was very, very, very interesting to me, the fact that all of a sudden we have not seen hide nor hair of Pastor Rob outside of a few trips to the Greatest Ally that he was taking kind of at the end of the year. But then all of a sudden there he is. And there he is with a perfect explanation of where he has been. This is where I've been. This is what I've been doing. Well, Rob, I don't know if that's really the whole story, bud, because we've been watching. And also it's possible to confirm someone's location based on other people's social media. They try to keep themselves private. They don't catch everything. For example, I know that Miss Allie was able to find Pastor Rob on other church sites. So he's not posting as himself as he's gone everywhere. But every once in a while, a different church will post that he was their guest, and then we can see exactly where he was and where he went. So what I wanted to do is, as we start taking a look at Pastor Rob. I want us to think about, potentially, if some of the fundraising activity could have been done by more individuals than just the senior gifts team. When we're thinking about who might be charged with taking care of things on the ground. It was so interesting to me to hear him say, I've been to 36 states. 36 states. Wow, Rob. Wow. I'm impressed. Honestly, I can't imagine. Think of the frequent flyer miles. That being said, the jets that he's taking, no, they're not from Delta. Rob has been flying around on our Paradise jets, allegedly. Those jets are specific, and they're going to specific locations. As I was thinking to myself, where is it? Where is it that this man has gone? Where do we know that he's gone? Oh, well, he gave us a few dates of when he went to the greatest ally. Interesting. Is there any way that we can take a look to see if any of that is at the same time as our Air Mima flights? Well, wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? So as we're working to place him on all of his overseas trips, I'm like, I don't want to give the game away with the tail numbers too early, but guys, I'm like, for my folks that know, that track along with me, N804MS, as in Miriam and Sheldon, start there. More to come, but them I have fully logged, so I'm like, too late, too late now. They, the jig is up with that. But any of my folks that are also aviation people, 804MS. That would appear to be the one. So once we figured out where it was that Rob was, we started to track, what are all of those airports? What are all of those airports? Why are they going to the airports that they are going to? Why is he going? So, okay, so you're telling me that you are going and you're spreading the word to 36 different states and 3 different countries. Okay. Well, in the beginning of that interview, I'm like, oh, do you think I can find it? Oh, maybe I can try to find it. Hold, please. I'm like, this is going to be a real hold, please, because I have to now go and find the spot that he says it. But I think it's actually, well, I don't know. Am I going to be able to do it? We may not be able to. That's okay. I can tell you guys about it regardless. Do you guys recall that in this interview, I'm like, I'm going to try to find it while we're sitting here. In this interview, the pastor that he's talking to, he makes a little bit of a slip up. So hold on one second. Long. Okay, maybe we can do this. We're doing it on the fly, guys. I'm like, cross your fingers for our tech skills. Oh, we got it. Oh my goodness. Look at that. We have all the luck in the world at this moment. Okay, now you guys are seeing the full extent of the tech skills here. So hold on. Is that enough? Is that close enough? You guys like that one? Is that fine? Okay, hold on. Are you guys able to see him close enough? Maybe. That's okay. I think we're okay to go back to our normal one. Let's do that one. Sure. No problem. Okay.
How's your family, man, in this last how has it been 18 months?
Yeah, well, since Charlie's death, it's almost a year.
A year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, September 10th will be the anniversary.
Now I know that was only a 1-second clip, but did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear him say, how long has it been? Like 18 months? Tell me, for those of us who love Charlie, maybe we didn't know about Charlie, maybe we were big fans, maybe he was brand new to us. Can you think of any person? Can you think of any person that thinks that Charlie has only been gone or has been gone for 18 months? 18 months? What do you mean 18? What is this? What do you mean 18 months? And I started to wonder to myself, I thought to myself, so why would he ever say 18 months? What is it that happened 18 months ago? What is it that happened 18 months ago? How could you conflate that? How could you think that you're saying a year? We all know that it's the 1-year anniversary. There is not any person, I cannot think, especially someone who is a pastor at a church, 18 months. Brother, I know that time flies, but 18 months? How could you possibly get that so wrong? Unless it was a slip of the tongue, right? So what it felt to me a little bit more like was maybe we were just hearing him say something that he didn't really mean to say. I thought back, well, so what happened 18 months ago? You know, because he said it pretty assuredly. What happened 18 months ago? Well, when is 18 months ago approximately? Well, that would be February 2025. Okay. So that's not when the Trump administration took over. That's not the beginning of the administration. So that was in January. Okay. Okay. So February 2025. Well, what is it that we saw starting in February 2025? Oh, yeah. That's when we saw our increase in our fundraising activities. That's right, when we saw our increase in our fundraising activities. Now, I don't know exactly if that was the plan the entire time. I'm not sure. I don't know if the plan for them to increase all of their fundraising flights. I don't know if it just happened to fall February 2025. But as you guys know, that's when they started doing that. And I thought to myself, okay, well, it feels like a little bit of a clue. Let's go ahead and look back to the aircraft, some of the aircraft that are taken by Pastor Rob on his fundraising activities, and see if we can find anything that would have anything to do with that date, see if we can find any strange flights, see if we can kind of, put anything together with this. Because now that we have this little idea, then a lot of what we work to do is to rule things out. A lot of what we are trying to do as we go is to rule things out. And so my thought has been, well, okay, can I rule out the idea that maybe this 18-month time frame has anything to do with this? Maybe that is a slip of the tongue. Maybe this is a discussion they had before they hit film, right? I mean, maybe they said, oh yeah, I need to explain to everyone where I've been for the last 18 months. Maybe, I don't know. But it gave me a place to start. And that for me is usually the best place to do it. See if we can rule it out, see what's going to happen, see kind of where we're at. So it got me tracking a few different aircraft. Now, let's see here. I'm going to add this guy. Let's hop over to, hold please, as we're doing excellent tech right now. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is going to be close up enough. Why don't we see if we can actually make it bigger? Thank you guys for going on the struggle bus with me as we are trying to do good tech. But if you guys can still hear me, okay? So, guys, this is going to be August 14th of last year, okay? This is August 14th of last year. Now, as I started tracking along with those flights, tracking along with our different tail numbers, what I have been looking at very specifically is trying to find out if anything stands out. And as I have tracked along with the different aircraft, this one for me, for example, this flight in particular, it really stood out. Now, if you guys did happen to catch the episode that I did with Stu a few days ago, we talked about this airport in particular, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about it here because there's a reason that to me, this one stood out in a way that I was shocked, and that's saying something. So this flight in particular, this is one of our aircraft that is a fundraiser. And the place that they're heading, it's McCook, Nebraska. Okay, that's McCook, Nebraska. Now, what you guys can see right there on the screen is the time in Zulu. Okay, so that 0630, that is not the time that it was there locally. What that is the time in Zulu. Zulu is like universal time. Okay, and now I'm going to maybe I'll put myself back in here so that I can talk about it, but then you guys have been able to see it up close. So the time that's in Zulu, that is a universal time. Okay, and what it works out to, you have to calculate it. You have to run it through. Are we on standard time? Are we on daylight time? What's the local time? All of that, but it's overnight. I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. So McCook Airport, but they came in overnight. Well, does McCook Airport have any tower? Let's take a look, shall we? So what we did was we went ahead and we took a look at McCook because that was really the right place to start given the circumstances. So as I try my very best to do excellent production here. And thank you guys for bearing with me. Let's do this one. Here we go. There it is. Okay. So that's McCook Airport. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's hop in on the ground and take a look because I'm just showing you guys my process because again, I want for all of you guys to feel like you can do this for yourselves at home. because first of all, one, I don't want to be the only person who sees this stuff. Like, guys, I don't want to be the only one who's aware of this stuff, but also I know that how many, like, I really know that so many of you guys are also really passionate and curious about what happened. And so I always want you guys to feel like, okay, I can go and look at this too. I can go and see what it is that we're seeing, what it is that we're talking about. And also, I firmly believe you should never just take someone's word on something. Always, always, always do your own research. So let me just show you guys my process with this one, and I think it'll make pretty good sense. So what we're looking at right here is this is going to be McCook County Airport. Let me go ahead and let's see how much our computer wants to do today. So hold on just a second. Okay, here we go. Let's take a live look, shall we? And we'll go together. Well, this is McCook County Airport. So this is one of the locations where some of that really good fundraising was taking place, and it was taking place overnight. This was in the middle of the night. The aircraft that are used by Turning Point came in to this place here with this really incredible security, as you can see. And this is one of the locations where they were doing some of their fundraising. This is a different time frame. You know how Google Maps will kind of switch around. This is a pretty old picture. It's about 15 years ago. So I want to be fair and make sure that we show the updated version, the updated like images, something more recent, because who knows, maybe they've gotten a tower. Maybe they've gotten some sort of infrastructure. Maybe they have been able to, I don't know, make it so that their airport is a regular airport. Well, there is a mailbox. We've got that. Okay. All right. So we've got that. Then we've got a hangar here. Looks like it's probably a private owner, given that there's a door. And, you know, if there's a door on this side, guys, just so you're aware, that's the security, the door. Like, literally, that's the security level that we're at. So hold, please. What I want to do is let's come out of that just so that I already know that my computer is going to hate me even for trying to do this. Hang tight for 1 sec. Okay. Let's see if this fixes it. Hold on just a second. Are we okay? Are we good? Okay, you guys can see me and hear me? Perfect. I try to make it so that I'm not like fussing through, because I think it's when I'm going through like maps, ADSB, etc., that my computer says, "Girl, please." So we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to hurt her or anything like that. So when I look at McCook Airport and I think to myself, well, look at that. That looks like the kind of place where maybe we could do some fundraising. Maybe. I wouldn't probably do it in the middle of the night. That's an untowered airport, as in there is no control tower. When it's time for you to go to that airport, then you as the pilot, do you know what you do? You jump in and you are starting to land and you self-announce. This tail number, landing, visual flight rules, blah, blah, blah. And they have that conversation with the main air traffic control that's like way up high. There is not anyone there to guide you in. There's not anyone there to greet you. There's not any tower there to say that the strip is clear or anything like that. You literally, as the pilot, you hit a button. You have like a receiver button. It's like your radio button, and you double click it, and that turns the lights on. They're like automatic. So it's an emergency feature is what it's supposed to be, because obviously landing a plane at night, dangerous endeavor, scary endeavor, think about that, right? So when you're doing that, generally speaking, excuse me, you have a tower that you're talking to. You are having the conversation with them the entire way. There's no one there. There's cows. There's cows, literally. So you click your clicker, like, and that turns the lights on the runway, and you're expected to do it all yourself. Now, pretty convenient, right? Yeah, Nash, exactly. Incredibly convenient, right? So when you're doing that, and if you can imagine what that setting is like for someone who's coming in to do some fundraising, it got me to thinking, well, that seems unusual. That seems unusual, guys. There's something about it that I don't like. I don't like the idea that this is where some of these fundraising flights are going. And Pastor Rob, I know that you've been going to all of these churches, but boy, I can't find any record of you going to this church in Nebraska, in this area of Nebraska. Okay. Well, why don't we take a look? Now, for me, I've been thinking to myself, so if the hypothesis were true, that maybe there was a network out there, because we know, and we talked about this, what was it, last week? We know when we talked about this last week, how is it that modern smuggling is actually done. How is that actually done? Well, generally speaking, smuggling nowadays is done using this spoke and hub. And what does that mean? Well, spoke and hub is kind of like, think when you go to return something to Amazon. Say you get a shirt and it's the wrong size and you need to go return it. Well, you're probably not going to have to you don't really want to go put it in the mailbox, really, right? You know, most people, they'll just go to their Walmart or their Whole Foods or whatever, right? And you drop it off at the desk. And then Walmart goes, they take the shirt and they bring it to a warehouse. And then they wait for the day or two. And then the big Amazon truck is going to come and it's going to take it to the Amazon plane, to the Amazon warehouse. You know, they are taking things from out in the community. They're putting them together. And then once they have enough shirts, they call up, you know, the big boys and they say, hey, you know what, come and pick up these returns. That to me is the best and most clear way that I can explain how modern weapons trafficking happens. They are using community individuals, okay, people with their FFL. And what all of those people do is they are tasked with buying 5, we're going to call them units, because I want to make sure that we do not get into a situation where we get the stream cut. And actually, though, speaking of stream being cut, what we're going to do is we're going to hop over to YouTube only, guys. So I'm like, YouTube crew, stay right where you are, please, please, please. But for our folks that are here on Twitter, I'm like, I hope that I see you guys over there, because we're just getting started with this one. We might have found the people. Maybe. Maybe. But I hope that you guys will see us over there. I'm like, guys, okay, cross your fingers for us. And all of my YouTube folks, I'm like, everybody freeze, you know. 1 second. We're going to just cut that because I want to make sure that when we are talking about such things, then they don't hear us. So I think that works. Can everybody still see me and hear me okay? Yes, I'm sorry. So thank you guys so much for using coded language. As you guys can imagine, when we're talking about really sensitive stuff, when we're talking about stuff that, well, you know, that the sensors are going to flag, or stuff that, you know, just they're going to pick it up, right? So I would really, really appreciate if we use, our little coded language. I totally get it, though. Guys, I wish more than anything that we could just speak freely, but we're out thinking them and we're staying 10 steps ahead. And part of doing that means using the code words. So Aramima, I don't know what we're calling. We can call them, I'm calling them boxes or units, you know, for firearms. We're not really supposed to talk about firearms. You guys know. You remember what it was that Victor Marx was in the market for? 50,000 units, right? We're just going to call them units, and we know what we're talking about. Okay, so thank you guys so much. You guys are absolutely the sweetest. I appreciate you so, so much. So let's get into it. As I thought to myself, well, you know, if they were using the spoken hub method, how practically would they do that? I mean, what kind of excuse could you use? I do understand fundraising, sure. It's not a bad excuse if you think about it. It's not terrible, is it? But boy, I mean, it might be a little bit hard to explain why it was that you were at McCook fundraising overnight. What is it, the fundraising you could have been doing? And when Pastor Rob decided to pop his little head out, I thought to myself, oh, that's fascinating. You of all people. You know, I have been thinking of him as more of a, how do I put this? A goon, a henchman, someone who was doing the bidding of others, right? And I've spent a lot of time trying to develop, it's like, okay, who's in charge? Who's the boss? Who's the underboss? You know, our mafia style, our mob style network. I've always thought of Rob as being kind of more of a goon. He rubbed me the wrong way. It was very weird. We called him Sailor Rob. We made fun of the outfit. But, you know, it was really strange to me, the idea that Pastor Rob, you know, as soon as Baron was playing his stream, what happened? Oh, Pastor Rob went and pulled the stream. As soon as Ian started talking about Pastor Rob, do you remember his entire channel getting brigaded, right? So I'm like, guys, Team Small Potatoes, if you guys see weird stuff in the chat, let me know. I'm hopeful that we're still, you know, we're just little tater tots over here. Don't worry about us. But we figured it out. And I'm like, Rob, you know, you shouldn't have popped your little head up. Because when I started to think about what it was potentially that they could be doing, fundraising, gosh, that's a heck of a thing. And that really would require a lot of coordination. And it's a difficult excuse to make. But then I thought to myself, oh, wait a second. You've been to 36 states using the word of the Lord. You've been to 36 states using, and I mean that actually. Nothing upsets me more than people trying to use the word of spreading the word of God to do things that are really, really ethically awful. So I'll try not to even think about that. But what we will say is that you have been spreading your, Judeo-Christian values over 36 states. Wow, that's really impressive. So with seeing a flight like that and with looking into it further, I thought to myself, okay, so if I were instead, maybe, what if I were using the word of the Lord as a cover? What if I were using the word of the Lord? Because that wouldn't be a terrible, terrible cover, would it? 36 states, I just go where they tell me. I'm making Turning Point Israel, and I'm going to 36 different states. Okay. So I started to think to myself, well, now, if it were true that Pastor Rob or someone around him were spreading the word of the Lord, I'm like, should I call it preaching? We're just going to call it preaching because, again, we all know what we're talking about here, just like when we're talking about fundraising, right? But I don't even like to associate it with any actual religious practice. So whatever. We're just going to say preaching. If Pastor Rob or someone else aboard those jets were preaching, if they were preaching their way across the country, and if that were the sort of thing that maybe we wanted to use as a cover, maybe we wanted to use preaching as a cover, it's not a terrible idea. It's really not. I mean, then you probably could excuse going to some of these places. Now, part of what I have been focused on is identifying all of those airports and taking a look at them the same way that we did right there. I like to go in. I like to see what airport it was. I have certain parameters that I'm searching for. The flights that I consider potential pickup sites are ones that they stay for 25 minutes on average, sometimes up to 45 minutes, depending on the location. And they always go at odd or off hours. I call them dark tower hours, as in either there's no tower that is at that airport or that tower is closed. I've been developing a list, of course, and some of them, I thought, these do feel a little bit more like preaching locations than they do like fundraising locations, if that makes sense. When we're thinking of modern fundraising, we would think someone's going to go to New York, go to DC, go to an area, go to that, where's that super wealthy part of Arkansas where like all the Waldens live and stuff like that. Go to LA. I mean, my goodness, if you were fundraising, well, you would go to these areas where it's kind of a known donor network. And although there are often individual donors, here and there across the country, are you really going to spend $40,000 to fly to a location to get a check from a donor who may or may not give you $40,000? Does that even make sense from an economical standpoint? Does that even track? Like, does that really make sense for what someone would do? But if you were going to places like, I'm like, let's get the list out, shall we? Because I think it makes it pretty clear. If you were going over and over to places like Eagle County, Colorado, Rifle, Colorado, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, let's see. I have a maybe on my Port Arthur, Texas. There's oil money there. But if you were going over and over and over and over to these locations that were kind of small locations, small little airports, just like that one, preaching, that's not a terrible cover if you think about it, right? So I started back last year because February apparently was important. I thought to myself, okay, so if I can get together a list of the locations where this preaching may have been taking place, well, then what I can do? I can compare that to the FFL database. Because in the FFL database, any person who has their FFL, which is their federal firearms license, any person who gets that license, it's a strict process. It's a really strict process, isn't it? In fact, it's not the sort of thing that in this country we actually even use that much. Not that much. Now, if you're a sporting goods store, yeah, of course, you're going to get your FFL dealer, right? That's a normal thing. Every Cabela's has an FFL, right? Every Walmart that sells even rifles. If you are conducted in that as a primary business. But if John wants to sell Jack, his next door neighbor, his, hunting rifle, you don't have to have it. If it is not your primary business that you are engaged in. So to me, I think to myself, well, okay, so who are the types of individuals who maybe would have access to these kinds of items? Well, we started to look into it, and to obtain that actual license, it's a very, very, very specific process. You have to go through the ATF, they have to do background checks. Individuals who are, have certain, what is that called? Certain criminal records. They are not able to obtain them, of course. But what you can do is if you are someone who has a clean record, well, you can just go, and if it is your primary business that you're engaged in, if it is your primary source of income, or at least a significant portion of your income, then you can register for it and you get it for 3 years. You get it for 3 years on the dot. Now, if that makes sense, that means that if you and I went and got our FFL today, then it's 2026. So if we got our FFL today in August, then it would expire in August of 2029. Is that right? Yes, that's 3 years. So it would go for another 3 years. That allows us to count backwards, right? So I thought to myself, well, you know what I better do? You know what I better go take a peek at? I better go and take a peek at where our FFLs are, because there's not that many of them. That's the thing. There's not that many. So there's a number of different websites that you guys can go. I'm like, I love Research Along. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so happy. Someone just said, where do I go? FFL.com. Free shout out. Yes, research along with me because I want you guys to look at this stuff too. It's fascinating. This website happens to be pretty good and it's free. So you hop on there and you can go state by state. Now, I thought to myself, well, can I go and take a look, because there is this federal database of every person that has an FFL. Well, okay, yeah, we can. And we can go right over to Nebraska. I wonder if there's anything that we can see, because as you guys can see, it happens to go through every city that you've registered it in. Baby J, I just saw you ask a really great question. Totally fine question. What happened 18 months ago? 18 months ago is when these fundraising and preaching flights seem to have begun in earnest. That is when they started doing their pinging across the country. Unfortunately for them, if they are just being innocent and innocently preaching and innocently fundraising legitimately, then it's really, really, really terrible timing, isn't it? Because all of a sudden, they started doing all of these little flights that mimic what we would see in modern arms movement. So my hypothesis has been, well, let's see. There is a possibility. There is a world. There's a timeline that exists that maybe, just maybe, February, maybe that was that time. Maybe that was, because that is exactly when the guy said, and that's exactly when they started doing all these weird little pinging flights where they were pinging to, we're talking about, like, guys, just so you guys are tracking, we're talking about like 5 flights a day, like 5 a day. Like, it was constant. Like, I'm talking about like on an average day, maybe 3 or 4, but like, often many, many more than that. I was seeing with very, very strict regularity, 5 flights a day. What fundraising? That's not chartering. Because they didn't go back to the same place. It was like they go here, there. I'm like, oh, I wish. If you guys do need to, go and watch one of the episodes that we did on tracking the flights, because guys, they never went back. If you were picking someone up, if you're picking up one of your billionaire donors or whatever, you have to drop them back off at home. Right? You can't just, you brought them to somewhere and then you just left them? Like, no, like at some point, I don't know, I gave it like a 2-week span where I was like, okay, if they go back to that airport, maybe they did pick somebody up. And then I was like, okay, that never happens. And I was like, okay, if I give it like a 1 week, do they ever go back? And that's kind of been my steady thing, is like, if they go back within a week, maybe they were, taking somebody, and I leave that as like a low priority, a lower likelihood that flight is related to them actually doing some movement of anything. I also was able to isolate down when they actually are picking up passengers. Their average time on the tarmac, so their average layover, right? Their average layover when they have picked up individuals, actually picked them up, 90 minutes. And it's like, I was able to go through and be like, okay, they were here this day. Here's who they picked up. Okay, that's 90 minutes. Okay, they were here this day. They went and then dropped that person back off. That's 90 minutes. There's no reason. 25 minutes is crazy. Just so you guys are tracking, like that's crazy. Like that would be like a really once in a blue moon thing, because the entire purpose of private travel is so that you can have the luxury of time. That's the entire reason that you're paying so much money. You're paying really a premium. We're talking about $30,000, $20,000 per trip. And that doesn't even count with things like there's insurance premiums and there's gas. There's a lot of it. There's hangar rental. So guys, what they're doing is they're going on all these little flights and they're just like, boom, 25 minutes in Coeur d'Alene, boom, 40 minutes in Aspen, boom, 15 minutes on the tarmac in Aspen again, then Telluride, then, and all of these places, Tampa Signature, like boom, 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 boom. 25 minutes. That's nuts. What kind of shuttle? That's not a shuttle. That's not even a shuttle. So for me, I was like, I am not going to be gaslit into thinking that these are them. Like, what is this, a billionaire shuttle from Turning Point? Like, that doesn't even make sense. They don't ever go to an actual event. They don't like go and pick a bunch of people up and then go to something. No, they like ping out from some random little airport where there's an empty hangar. They ping out, they go to a bunch of random preaching locations for 25 minutes each, and then they go back. It's nuts. So I've been sitting there saying like, yeah, that's so weird. Just the idea that they could even think that that's normal. That is not what you see in private aviation. You can even tell when the plane is weighted down, guys. So at this point, I'm like, it feels to me as though it's more likely than not. However, I'm not saying that I'm making an allegation against them. I really hope that there's just a really genuine reason and that they'll tell us. Now, according to Pastor Rob, 2 days after that information was brought forward, according to Pastor Rob, it's preaching. So we'll keep that in mind. Anyway, back to the FFL. Sorry for the aside. You guys know I love a brief aside. Okay, one sec. So when I thought to myself, okay, all right. So if it were this preaching operation that we were seeing, could I take a look and see if there was any information that I could get? Because I know, what do we know? Well, we know that hypothetically February of 2025 is important. February of 2025 is important. Okay, so we know that hypothetically. We know that the airports where this overnight preaching is taking place, well, one of them is McCook in Nebraska. So how can we test our theory? How is it that we can start to take a look if there's things that kind of line up, things that kind of make sense? So I went over to the FFL database and I ran down, let's see here, LM. I'm showing you guys so you can see that I'm like literally, doing this with you. You know, see, like I don't know how to use AI that good. So no funny business regardless. But okay, so now we are in the FFLs that are near me and near McCook, Nebraska. Same airport that they flew into, same town that we just saw that has those random little hangars, no security, and not much else. Okay, well, let's take a look at all of the FFLs that are in McCook, Nebraska, shall we? Because someone there maybe has an FFL that would make sense. I'm like, can you guys see it good? Can you see it okay? Hold on, I have to look at the comments. Can you guys see it all right? Hold on. Someone tell me yes, please. Hi, Anne. Welcome to Team Small Potatoes. I'm so glad you're here. We're solving this thing. I mean, the collective we. The guys, I'm like, we got to lead. So, okay. Can you guys see okay? Because I feel like it is small and I'm squinting. Yes, you can. Thank you, Jeannie. You're the best. Okay. Awesome. So when we're looking at FFLs near me in McCook, Nebraska, okay, well, we see our list. Well, let's see. Okay. All right. That's it. That's the end of the list. That's every person in business that has an FFL. So hypothetically could be charged with doing something like, I don't know, purchasing 5 to 10 units. And all they would need to do is have their FFL. Okay. They need to have their FFL. And they would go and make a request to, I don't know, SIG or to some other, manufacturer, right? A major manufacturer. And they order 10 units. Now, if that money, for example, were already in their account, if they already just had money, then great, perfect. We can go in and, we're just going to make this order. Now, between you and I, just as a thought experiment, how hard would it be because it does not raise regulatory flags to purchase 5 or 10. Pretty normal stuff. The ATF's not looking at that. The cost of it isn't insurmountable. We're talking about around, depending, maybe $5,000, maybe 10, depending on how fancy of an item that you're purchasing. But say it's an AR, an Aaron Rodgers, because it seems to me as though that is something that they have been very interested in getting to the greatest ally. We've seen a huge uptick in American-made Aaron Rodgers in the greatest ally. And what we know is that that kind of violence has increased 24 to 27% over the past year. So how is it that those excess items are getting there? That's been the question we've been seeking to answer. I've been thinking to myself, so how would I get it? How would I actually do that? Well, okay, yes, that makes sense. Modern movement, modern smuggling is done in this way. All right, I spend the $5,000. I place the order. I put it in a little hangar. I just drive up to the little, I drive up to the back of the place. Let's see. I drive up right here, drop a box off. I mean, I don't know. This is daytime. I don't think they'll fit in the mailbox. Do you guys see what I'm saying by how easy these things become if we take a look at what security measures are there or not there? Now, this is a free country, but it's not that hard to pull up your truck right here, walk into an empty pre-planned location, and leave a box. Pretty anonymous. I don't think they have a lot of flock out here, guys. So pretty easily, anonymously, pretty much done. So I've been thinking to myself, well, okay, if that were the way that this kind of system is implemented, can I see anything that would maybe make sense? And I wanted to start with this. So when I am looking through the database, one moment. Okay. Here's all of our FFL dealers that are in and around McCook, right? Now, one of these is not like the other, but let's just start with the main one, because I think that we found the correct one, but not an allegation, but a question. So when I take a look, the first thing that I did was I just took a look at an example of, I went every single individual. Of course, we looked at every single individual one. Now this is for Armadillo Arms and Sporting Goods. Now, for example, the reason that I started with them was because when Stu and I were talking, I was saying how unusual it felt to me, as though like the fact that Armadillo is located literally right outside of the airport. I thought, that's really weird. The location happens to be kind of odd. It is directly, right there. And I thought, ooh, that's not great. I better take a look at Armadillo first. So when I come in and I take a look at Armadillo, I can see all different pieces of information, including their name. The license name is under Armadillo Arms and Sporting Goods, right? We can see it right here. Okay, well, that seems, I don't know if there's a huge red flag. I mean, it is Armadillo Arms and Sporting Goods. Like, that kind of makes sense. They are probably, where you take your pop and you guys go and you get ammo or whatever the case may be. So the next thing that I did was I went to over to Armadillo, just took a quick peek at their website, just took a look, made sure, okay, are they active? Yes. Are they open? Yes. Do they happen to exist? Okay, this is our location that's here in McCook, Nebraska. Okay, hey, listen, they got a 4.7 stars, so pretty good. Like, honestly, not bad, gentlemen. Seems like a normal business. And so what you guys want to think about when you're looking at information like that is, well, what actually makes sense and what potentially does not make sense. Now, for me, Armadillo, pretty low on my list, to be honest with you guys, because that looks like a normal sporting goods store. That's a normal place. So when I look at this one, I say, feels low priority to me. This seems right, if that makes sense. Now, a lot of the reason why it makes so much sense for it to be Armadillo is because Armadillo, not just the name of a cute little critter, but also this is a business. It has a location. It is a normal place. These are people who would need an FFL. That's normal. That's fine. Well, who else is located in that area? Okay, well, we've got TK Sports. Okay. We've got Safari Rifles. Okay. These look like normal dealers. Owens Ordnance. Okay. Interesting. A little interesting, but a manufacturer, so a little different, but it's an ordnance company. Okay. Riverview Arms, LLC. Southwest Outdoors. You guys seeing a theme? Very much like, Cabela adjacent businesses. Totally fine. Totally normal. See, there's our Walmart. They tend to have it. But who is this here? Oh, that's interesting. So Travis M. Zwickle. I hope I'm saying that right. And Travis, if you happen to see this, we are not making an allegation at all that you were involved in any such nonsense. But boy, there's some unusual stuff happening. And I mean, ultimately, bud, maybe it's good that you're aware of it, if that makes sense. Because if it's not anything, well, if I were you, I would want to know. But we have to ask the question because Travis M. Zwickle. Okay. All right. So what can we see when we take a look at Travis M. Zwickle? So when we open his actual FFL, then we are able to see a few different pieces of information. We can see the license number. Okay. We can see, oh, what is this? Oh, we can see where you're located. Huh. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that super clearly. I hope that you can. That address right there, that can't be right, can it? Riverview Cemetery. Now, are we looking at the right city? Oh, yeah, this is McCook Bible Church. Okay. All right, so we are in McCook here. So we're looking at the highway and the address of McCook. Okay. And your address is Riverview Cemetery. That's weird. You know what? It must be a typo. Or maybe there's a little house. No, I don't think so, Travis. It's just a little strange, but gosh, you never know how these map systems work, guys. You never know. But you're a manufacturer. Okay. All right. Huh. Well, what else is it that we can observe when we take a look at Mr. Travis's, and I'm clicking into the actual FFL. I'm like, guys, you won't be able to see this barely at all, will you? Let me close in on it so that hopefully it's more visible. There we go. Okay. So when we are taking a look, well, what information can we see? Well, we can see Travis Zwickle. Okay, Travis M. Zwickle. And we can see an address. Now, cemetery or no, we don't know. What we don't see is a business associated. So that's a little interesting because these are FFLs, and FFLs specifically are supposed to be for individuals who it's not, Travis isn't just selling a rifle to Rick. Like, that's not what you get an FFL for. If Travis just happens to have a hunting rifle, say he just loves to, I don't know, do mods on weapons. That's a normal thing. Oh, maybe he just has one too many hunting rifles. Well, he's going to sell one off to John. You don't need your FFL for that. Maybe he wants to go to Big Five and then sell them his old hunting rifle. No. The actual pawn shop or whatever the place is that's maybe going to accept it, they have the FFL. You don't. So as an individual, okay. All right. So what other information do we see here? Well, I see the license number. It's kind of blocked out, but we got it on the previous page. Okay, noted. And I see the expiration date. I think to myself, well, that's interesting. Because what I do know is that February 1st, 2028. Now, wait a minute. How long are FFLs good for? Well, they're good for 3 years. I'm like, class, you guys probably know this already. Class, FFLs are good for 3 years. So what day does that mean that this license was procured, this particular license? When was that procured? When did they go and get that license? Would that be February 1st of 2025? And just so you guys know, I'm like 8 or 9 deep. And a nice thing has been 8 or 9 specific FFLs deep right now. A nice thing has been, it's so funny. They all got their FFL on February 1st of 2025, all across our great nation. There have been a number of individuals. It's so funny, the timing. I mean, it's just, and so when I have sought to give excuses, and as you guys know, a lot of what I try to do is excuse people's behavior. Is there anything that we could just say, that makes sense? Well, when someone is elected, especially if it's a lib, we know that the number of individuals who are expected to be, purchasing firearms, that increases. When it's a Republican, it's usually the opposite. So funny to me that all of these folks at all of these really interesting preaching locations, they all went and got their FFL on the same day. Individuals, not businesses. So I said, okay, so who's Travis M. Zwickle? Because that's weird. It's another little clue. But Okay. I don't think he lives in the cemetery. Could be an error. I don't think that he registered it under a business. Could be an error. What else can we see about Mr. Zwickle? So, of course, I go and I start to look him up. I can see his address. We're not doxing anybody. It's a cemetery. But, either it's an inaccurate one or whatever, who knows? But as I started to look into Mr. Travis, he has a very limited profile online. Now, I was able to find this. Hold on. I'm like, okay. So I thought to myself, okay, Ash Creek Armory. Okay. So maybe Travis, that makes sense. Ash Creek Armory. Okay. Maybe it's that Travis here happens to own this business. Maybe Ash Creek Armory. I'm like, I hope that you guys can see it. Okay. I really do. So that probably Travis there, left-handed. He would maybe have some affiliation with, maybe he owns, maybe he, is just, maybe that's his business. Because again, if he is the FFL holder, then that's his business. So he's not just an employee. Okay, so maybe he owns this Ash Creek Armory. And so as I continued to look, and I looked and I said, well, that's interesting. So it would appear that no. It doesn't say anything about a business. It says that he's a digital creator and that he works at the Nebraska Department of Roads. He worked at the city of McCook. He went to the high school. That's nice. He has a missus. How lovely. Now there's not any specific additional information about any Ash Creek Armory. There is this photo right here from 2013. There's this photo right here from 2013. So I thought, well, okay, 12 years ago, ish. All right. Maybe it's just, we're not looking at the right page. Maybe we're just not looking at the right page, Ash Creek Armory. Okay. All right. I can do that. Let's see. Well, then that was a business, I guess, 12 years ago. So maybe we can look at it now. Maybe we can see it somewhere else. So I looked up Ash Creek Armory right there in McCook, Nebraska. And well, now that we haven't gotten any reviews yet, it does say open now. It is within its business hours. It says state government. Okay. Now, please, someone let me know if they're able to find any additional information about this armory that he maybe has some affiliation with. Maybe. We don't know. But again, in fairness, it's in the guy's profile. So he did make sure to go and get the FFL. And he did make sure to update that in February of 2025. But there's one little website, and it mentions it has this, this image here. We have the state government category of business that he's engaged in. Then we've got, let's see, what else do we got? We've got our lovely location of our actual business right here in this cemetery. Okay. Hold on, please. I'm getting an alert from a mod. Okay, hoping everything's fine. I got an alert. Let me go look at the chat. Watch me be muted or something. Did it pull me from the stream? You're kidding. You're joking. Wait, can you guys hear me? Hold on. Before I freak out and have like a freak out, we kind of thought, wait, you can see me? You can't see the screen. But I was sharing it. Am I an idiot? You guys know, is it Baron? You're lying. Well, you can see me. You're joking. How many minutes has it been? You're kidding. Okay, hold on. Hold. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you can see me. I thought I was getting Rob McCoy. So thank you, Jeannie, for messaging me. You guys are so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, good. I thought I was getting the, because I was like, I showed the, the right. Has it been a long time? How many minutes? I did pull a Baron. Oh my gosh, Critter. I love you so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. How far? Was it a glitch? I don't know. I'm like, we'll pretend it was a glitch. Everyone? please. Everyone, please. Okay, let me get back to it. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. 4-minute up. All right. We're renaming it. We're not calling it a Baron anymore. We're calling it Anna. All right. I'm so sorry. That's so funny. Okay, here we go. I'm like, where were we at? Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're talking about our friend there. I did have it, didn't I? Okay, look at the little, oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. You guys are the best. I appreciate you. Okay, it's probably when I switched over. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, so did you guys see the business location? Stop. Live TV. Guys, do you want to hear something funny? So when I was on Stu this morning, for some reason, I think it was something in the Zoom, because, I like Zoom in or whatever. And so, he brought me in. Guys, why was my whole face in the screen like this? You guys, oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much I was so locked in. Stop. I love you guys. I'm the luckiest person in the world. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I love you guys so much. You are so kind. And also, gang, thank you so much for messaging me. I have okay, I'm like, I just need to, we'll get there. Maybe I should prioritize the other computer over the classes. Not me wanting to take this OSINT and then not getting a different, a 2 monitor. Thank you very much for hanging with me. I'm like, all right. We soldier on. This is a cemetery. Please tell me this is not the first time I am showing you guys a cemetery. Can you guys imagine? Wait, have you seen the cemetery? Please tell me this is not your first time seeing the cemetery. Okay, I said I wasn't doxing anyone. It's a cemetery, then my document, and then it poofed. Oh, yeah, because it gave me a big notice on the top of it, and it was like an error message. This is just, in StreamYard, and all of a sudden it was I thought that I was getting sailor robbed. So, we don't know. But anyway, so here's a cemetery. I'm very glad it's not anyone's first time seeing that. Anyway, this is a location where that business, that FFL, is registered to. For me, it feels like a little bit of a red flag when I am trying to take a look at things that I would consider a red flag. Now, first of all, having an FFL that is not attached to a business, okay, all right, maybe I can excuse that. Then I say to myself, okay, well, what business is it? Do they have any business involved? We know your FFL is not attached to a business, and your business or your address of your business seems to be located in a cemetery. That's a little strange. And you did get that license. Let's see, we're at our February 2025. You guys see what I'm saying by a little bit of a building red flag. And then I make a point to go in, take a look at the individual, take a look, see if there's anything I'm missing. Now, did you guys see the Ash Creek? I'm like, someone tell me, did you guys see the Ash Creek website, the Ash Creek Armory website? Were you able to see that? Someone tell me, please. Oh my gosh, you guys are giving me red cards. I love you so much. You guys are the sweetest ever. So, okay, here we go. Now, if you've already seen the Ash Creek Armory, you haven't seen the Ash Creek Armory, you're kidding. How long was I doing this for? You're kidding. Okay, one moment. Okay, now I'm just going to switch back and forth. We got this. Okay, here's our Ash Creek Armory. This is the only website that is affiliated with that business. That is the only business that seems to be attached, or that's the only webpage for that business that seems to be attached. Now, Ash Creek Armory, okay, we are within business hours. That's good. They're open. They are state government as a category. Okay, not totally sure what that means. They don't have any description. They don't have any, let's see, they've got a phone number attached, bless it. We don't have any reviews. Do you guys remember Armadillo? They're sitting there at what, 4.7? They're doing pretty well. So what I'm saying is when I am looking at the actual, when I'm reviewing a business that's attached to one of these FFLs, or person that's attached to one of these FFLs, I think to myself, that's a little weird. It's a little weird that they have a picture of this Ash State Armory, but the FFL is not actually tied to the Ash State Armory or Ash Creek Armory. Ash Creek Armory doesn't actually seem to be a business that's public. It could be a private business, I suppose. Okay. They've been around for 12 years. We're coming on their 13th year anniversary, but they don't have a single review. They do not appear to have any kind of review. No one has has any awareness of them other than this Yellow Pages listing and an FFL that's tied to a man that listed his address as a cemetery. So I hope that you guys can understand when I'm thinking of the, kind of things that trigger a little bit of a red flag for me. I go, okay, this person I think needs to be investigated further. I'm like, guys, so of course. So what we decided to do, I'm like, okay, cross your fingers for us, gang, because now we're switching web pages and it might make the whole thing crash again. We're going to hope not, because this is important. Here we go. So what I decided to do was I started to look. And as you guys know, I love nothing more than to take a look once I have enough of a clue that something could potentially be happening. So also, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Google Trends. I'm like, no more laughing, Scott. Scott, I love you so much. Thank you. Please hit the like button, guys. I appreciate it. So I started to look because what I wanted to do at that point was I wanted to take a look to see, because, for me, our friend Travis there, he had enough red flags that I thought to myself, well, maybe this isn't random. Maybe this isn't totally random. It could be. It could be. Could be. So I said, well, let me give it a lot of time. Let's give it a lot of time. And as you guys know, we are a student of Baron and we are certified in Google Trends, quite literally. But anyway, making sure that we give enough time for individuals, especially private individuals, to potentially have been looked at. And so when I'm looking around, I start wide. I start with the tri-country area. We're going through Cyprus. We're checking in Lebanon. We're checking in Jordan. We're checking in Egypt. We're checking in the greatest ally. And the place where our friend Rob loves to go, well, that would be specifically Jerusalem. It occurred to me that potentially, maybe, hypothetically, theoretically, if our bestie, Pastor Rob, were going to be doing any overseas preaching, any bringing of those values overseas, well, he would go specifically to Jerusalem. See, that's the place that he's been popping up in kind of continually. He's been kind of continually popping up in Jerusalem. So when we are actually going through and looking at where someone is located, we can actually select Jerusalem. And wouldn't you know it? Isn't that the funniest thing? Now, this is November 3rd through 9th. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm trying to click on it correctly. It's like my mouse is lagging because I'm on this. Okay. November 3rd through 9th, 2024. And so I made sure, if you guys can see in the top right, I made sure that we looked at the past 5 years. The past 5 years. Can you guys see this? Tell me you can. Can you see the screen share? Can you guys see the screen share? Wait, I see lots of little things. Can you guys see the screen share? Like, someone tell me if you can, please. Can you see me and then you can see the screen share? Yes. Okay. Matt can see the screen share. Thank goodness. Sorry, guys. It's tough. I'm like, guys, okay, just making sure. Because, before, apparently some people could see the screen share and some people were just looking at my face. Yay. So we soldier on. Oh, hey, Allie Top Files, guys. We're in royal company. Everyone, best behavior. So, Allie's an excellent researcher. And if anyone's not following Allie Top Files, then you're missing out because there's so much information out there. And Allie has pretty much most of it, all of it. I don't know. So she's amazing. She's in the chat. Say hi to her. So anyway, guys, I'm glad you can see this because, I thought to myself, okay, Travis Zwickle FFL. It's a pretty specific search. It is distinct. Now, when we are looking through different pieces of information, as you guys know, something that we pay a lot of attention to is, are these searches being conducted in English? Because a lot of what we've been working on in the background is compiling our list of Hebrew searches. Now, there's a lot of people that speak English in the greatest ally in Jerusalem. There's a lot of people that speak English over there. There are. And someone, just the once, right about 3 months before that FFL popped up, they wanted to know about Travis Zwickle and his FFL. Right about 3 months before. In fact, what week was that? Was that election week? Was that election week? Was that the same week that Trump got into office? Was that the same week that Meemaw had her president there who she had paid specifically to help her with her passion project, hadn't she? That specific week, isn't that interesting? Because and this is just a little bit of hypothesis, if it were me and I had paid someone $100 million to do an annexation, I'd probably want some good ROI. I'd want to make sure that I could take care of it. And so maybe, just maybe, part of what I would do, if I had a plan like this, and if I wanted to do something like this, part of what I would do is, well, when I found out that my guy won and that money wasn't going to be for nothing, I might start to wonder to myself, is it possible that this plan's actually going to be something we can pull off? Well, guys, it looks like we got the green light because Donald's in. So I might, at that time, start to take a look at individuals who wanted to make sure that they were available. And as I continued to look, and I thought, well, okay, all right, Anna, that could be crazy. This could be coincidence. I know they only looked him up, and they looked him up by his FFL, but they only looked him up once in a 5-year span, and it wasn't English, and it was in Jerusalem, and it was in English, but so it wasn't one of our Hebrew speakers, so it was someone who wanted to know about this one specific thing, and yes, it did happen to be election week, and I know that that's the thing that I paid for. I'm going to hope that I got what I paid for, and so now, if everything is going to be a green light and a go, and I'm going to be able to pull off my plan, I might look at somebody who has their FFL, and that might be the sort of thing, that might be the sort of plan that would make sense to me. It might be, but I thought to myself, Anna, that's crazy. That's crazy. There's no shot. That couldn't be it. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's, because who knows? And it being election week, gosh, that feels almost too on the nose if I'm being honest with you. So I thought, well, I better keep looking, I better keep looking and seeing if there's any other piece of information that I can find. And wouldn't you know it? When I headed over to those image searches, wouldn't you know it? Because that in Jerusalem is the address, that is the picture of the address that is tied to that FFL, the cemetery. And that's Travis Mark Zwickle in Jerusalem. And I needed to know what that cemetery looked like. I needed to know what the cemetery looked like. I needed to know what the person looked like. I needed to do a web search for the person. I needed to do a web search for his FFL to see if he had one, see if it was available. I don't know. And then I needed to go and I needed to look at an image of his location, or maybe a location where I would like to register this FFL, because gosh, we are taking some risk, aren't we? Maybe we're taking a little bit of risk, but I might in Jerusalem in the past 5 years have looked exactly at that time to see an image of a cemetery that I was going to register to an FFL and make sure that this individual, Travis Mark Zwickle, was who I thought he was and was the kind of person, maybe. Now, I don't know, guys. I don't know for sure if Mr. Travis, if this is all just coincidence with Travis. I have to tell you, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. And honestly, if my information were out on the internet in that way, Travis, please be careful, take this information off, or just be aware of it. I don't know. Again, I'm not making an allegation toward any person, but boy, these coincidences, guys, they just keep piling up. Because if I were going to do those things, well, then I might, in February of that year, go through and find my list of my individuals that I was going to go and fundraise with or preach with at 1:30 in the morning in McCook, Nebraska, for 25 minutes on a tarmac. And I was going to go at that point and just see. And I might, if I were someone, I don't know, maybe a frequent flyer in Jerusalem, like our pastor, Rob, I might, at that point, want to take a look. It's very interesting to me, the fact that we should consider. Charlie went to Asia right before he passed away. Allie has done excellent work on this. Oh, let's see. Arrived in Seoul on September 3rd and 4th. Okay, perfect. Allie just gave us, look at this, live information. This is crowdsource investigation. This is great. Allie, you're the best. Rob McCoy and Charlie arrived in Seoul, South Korea, September 3rd, 4th, 5 in the a.m. on a commercial flight. Look at that, guys. Come on. They flew commercial. Hello. I have been Allie and I have been, chatting with each other, trying to sit there and figure out if we could figure out what flight they're on. And I was like, girl, listen, I was like, I need the date because then I can look and I'm going to have to watch the airport and I'm going to have to run through. But what if they flew commercial and blah, blah, blah. And we were hypothesizing just this. See, that flight that in particular, the one that triggered me to think of McCook, that one was still in August. So a lot of what we're doing is we're developing a timeline to make sure that we are not conflating any dates, that we don't have any crossover. Again, I don't think that Charlie, I have found no evidence that a flight that Charlie was on conducted itself in a way that makes me think that he wasn't on the plane. So I've been thinking to myself, okay, so Charlie's not the person who's going and picking the stuff up, right? Like Charlie's not going. It's been interesting to me that about a week or so before he passed, it slowed down a little bit. They weren't doing the 5 or 6 a day. They were doing sometimes 3, sometimes 4. But they weren't doing those 5 or 6. They weren't doing their pinging runs. And so I thought, well, gosh, I know it's not Charlie because I know what plane Charlie takes. And that's not the plane that Charlie takes. So who is it that's on this other plane? And it's been interesting to me, the idea. And like things to think about, things that I'm not going to make a comment on because I don't know for sure what my even thoughts are on it. But it's interesting to me. Those flights did slow down while the gentlemen were in Korea. And there's someone else who was in Korea, weren't there? So. I'm getting good notes. Thank you. Yes, I definitely do that, Kate. Thank you. I love, guys. I honestly feel like the research girlies are so like, I love the gentlemen too. We love the gentlemen too, for sure. But the research girlies, guys, they're so amazing. And I'm like, and this is how we get solved. So that is them looking up the address. Someone in Jerusalem, someone asked in the chat to see it. That is them sitting in Jerusalem for some reason, searching in English, okay? Because when we're thinking about our native Hebrew speakers, those individuals, something to think about, they search a little differently. They have a different alphabet, etc. There's a lot to consider. This is searches that were being conducted in English. And part of what you guys know is that it is language specific, the way that we put it into the box, such as, one facet of it. And I found it just very interesting that right at that same time, somebody needed to know, right when Trump got elected, what Mr. Travis Mark Zwickle looked like and what this location looked like and what this individual had as an FFL, because they looked at that too. They looked at Travis Zwickle FFL as well. They were looking at that too. They wanted to look that up. And gosh, isn't that funny that that was election week? And isn't that funny that that gentleman happened to then go and get an FFL right at the same time as I'm at like 7. I'm at 7.5. Guys, as you guys can imagine, this is a pretty exhaustive process. As you guys, can picture, what I have to do is I have to go literally location by location and FFL by FFL. I'm like, if any of the research girlies will want to help, because this could be a group project, but it's okay. It's okay. I love doing it. I love researching. You guys know I'm a researcher before I'm not even a podcaster. I love hanging out with you guys though. And I feel so blessed and so fortunate to have met so many of you guys. That's, I love it. And I definitely don't mind teaching and all that stuff. That's just the most natural thing in the world to me. So, but I'm like, but if it was, up to me, guys, I would be, oh my gosh, like, who has my dream job? Daisy. The queen, one of the queens. Is she the princess? If Candace is, anyway, we love her. We love both of them. So that's who's got my dream job. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine, guys getting to just be like, that's me. And so that's me all the time anyway. But then I come on here and I tell you guys about it too, because why not, and I love working with you guys, finding you guys, meeting you guys, and also making sure that I'm never just telling you something. I'm never just going to be like, hey, this is what's happening. I'll tell you why I think that, and then I'll show you how I got there. I think that that's really, really, really important. It is all about showing your work, and these are big stories. So I don't want to make anyone think that I'm just I don't know, embellishing or anything, or I don't know, just coming up with nonsense. Because it's crazy. And I understand that it's crazy. The idea, the concept that this is that kind of preaching. I understand that very much. I'm not making an allegation of wrongdoing toward our darling Sailor Rob. I'm not. I promise you that. But boy, it is fascinating to me the fact that 2 days after Stu Peters brought up the story that said, hey, by the way, is this what's going on? Is it a smuggling thing? Is this related to the Adelsons? 2 days. 2 days after I went on Stu and talked about that, Pastor Rob takes his little behind onto a podcast for 350 views. And I'm just saying that when we're thinking about the reason people do different things, right? I do not believe that it is necessarily something that he was doing for publicity. I don't believe that it was necessarily something, I mean, he doesn't have any clearly he's not that close to the man that he was interviewing with. That man thought it had been 18 months. Right? And so he goes from being totally like hidden to being, to being all of a sudden, now there he is sitting down with Darren and saying, yeah, I don't know, Darren. I've been doing this. How do you say it? I can't do it really great. I don't speak dirtbag. No offense. But I'm just saying, like, it's interesting to me, the timing, and it makes me feel, and I don't love it. So whatever the preaching is that he's doing, and I'm like, a lot of the reason why I wanted to wait a little bit of time to make sure that I had all of my ducks in a row is because there's a lot of aircraft. I saw a really good question go by. There's a lot of aircraft. And yes, Baron did give us a clue. So we were able to look through and, find the Paradise linked ones and all of that good stuff. And it is always a team effort. It's going to take all of us. I love the aviation portion of it. So like I said, if anyone loves, I don't know, looking through FFL databases, looking through search parameters, I'm like, let me know, like, please. Only because, as you guys can imagine, it's a long process, but it's an important one because if it were something that we could identify as a pattern, and like I said, we're at 7.5. There's one still outstanding that I just want to, before I add somebody to my list, as you guys can see, I make a point to make sure, can we excuse this behavior in any other kind of way? Can we excuse this behavior? Is there any way that, this actually does make sense and it's not something that they're actually doing? And that's just I've had a couple of them, even like, for example, like we just looked at that armadillo one where I'm sitting there going, okay, you know what, that looks legit. And there's a lot of very legit ones. Even if it's just an individual working out of their home, that's not enough to make me say yes, that, this is a high likelihood. No, not at all. I want to go, I want to see the person, I want to see their social media. I want to see if they have a business affiliate. I want to see if there's a business that's across the street, even in the same parking lot. It's like, we have to really go through an exhaustive process. See if they have any digital footprints, see if the person has, if there's a reason or it's someone's spouse or, there's a lot of different considerations that goes into thinking, is this somebody who we need to start searching for in Google Trends? And then, if they did have an FFL that was, purchased. Did you purchase it? So we'll call it purchased. If they purchased an FFL in February of 2025, and they have a business that doesn't seem to be a business, or maybe as a shell company, or maybe just doesn't exist or whatever. And if they, that address location, we actually go to the address location, we look at it, make sure that there's not, oh gosh, it is a parking lot and blah, blah, blah. Okay. No, nothing on their social media. Okay. Now we need to search them. Let's see if they were searched in the time frame right around the election in Jerusalem in English. Like that's how we're like, because again, there's a lot of signal, or there's a lot of noise out there, and you want to identify the actual signal, if that makes sense. There's a lot of information out there, which is good, but in order to rule something in or rule something out as far as high likelihood of this being a concern, then that's how I'm getting to it. Also, it has occurred to me, guys, I'm like, just so everybody knows, I'm like, is the chat doing okay? Is everybody fine? Okay. I don't know if everybody be nice, please. I don't know. Also, if someone's being a troll, it's probably Pastor Rob. Pastor Rob, your power is no good here. Go back to doing whatever you're doing. Go back to starting Turning Point Israel or whatever. Like, leave us alone. Stop trying to cut the stream. But yes, I do think what it feels to me like is that, guys, I think that I think that they know that people are onto them. I do think so. And that's made them change their behavior. So we have to make sure that we're getting the appropriate tail numbers, that we're staking out, what hanger it is that they're using, what actual items is it that they could be transporting. And it is a group effort, that is for sure. But it feels to me as though there's really something here. So what I would say is that to me, I am putting this into my working theory. That is where I'm at. As you guys know, I have an extremely high bar for putting stuff into my working theory. I'm not saying Travis necessarily. It's Travis plus another 6.5. And we're only through, oh gosh, well, I'm not going to say. I'm like, Rob, cover your ears. Pastor, earmuffs, please. We're not even all the way up to now. And by the way, guys, they were doing these flights up until like 2 weeks ago. So, as you guys can imagine, the number of individuals that we're looking for, that we're looking at, that we're looking into, it's a lengthy thing. I would anticipate there being a great deal more. I don't know how many exactly. I'm not going to speculate. But my feeling is that as we continue, so what I wanted to let you guys know, this specific one, I'm not sure at this point, this is just me telling you guys, I'm not sure which way it will make the most sense to tell this story. I was thinking kind of chronologically, maybe it would make the most sense. I wanted to have this one focused on kind of like something that we were seeing in the summertime. And again, there's around like 7-ish in total. So what I'm trying to do now, next step, we're going to go through all of those individuals. Once we have the totality of those individuals that I think are really, really thinking that's what we're seeing, we'll talk about those individuals and see if they have any affiliations with any particular churches, sadly. I would never, never, never want to make an allegation of wrongdoing, certainly not to a house of worship. So I'm really trying to keep that very measured. I want to make sure that I know what I'm saying before I say it. Do you guys know what I mean? I go off the cuff a lot, just chatting with you guys, but I wouldn't want to say, I believe that this church, I believe that this pastor, I believe that, but just know that that's what we're working on in the background. And I'm not going to say that sort of thing until I really, 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 truly believe it. Also, who knows? Who knows? Could end up being something totally different. It has occurred to me, and this is just me yapping. I'm like, guys, I won't have any more new information. We'll keep talking here, but I never, ever, ever want to like waste people's time if they think I'm going to have a new reveal after this. We're not. But the thing that I wanted to share is that it's occurred to me that if you were going to do something like this, it would make a lot of sense, especially given the fact that pastors often have access to individuals that are down on their luck. So, because we think of vulnerable populations, we think of like, how will we actually pull off this scheme? How am I going to know people that would be a good target for this sort of operation? I need to find somebody who's willing to engage in this, and I have to find them around the country. I thought at first that maybe it had to do with the fundraisers, but I was like, really, with wealthy donors, like we're talking about billionaire people, are they going to take a risk like that for 5 to 10 units? Would they take a risk? Because obviously being investigated even for this sort of thing, that would be really hard on any person. And again, Travis, I hope very much that you're not one of those people. Okay. This is no criticism of him. It's just weird. So anyway, any person that ends up having that sort of situation come up in their life, would a wealthy donor really be the sort of person that would expose himself to this much risk if it were just for 5 or 10? I thought, no, I don't know. I don't know that they would be willing to take that sort of risk. I know that diversion is a thing, but gosh, nowadays with digital tracking, like the ways that companies, the ways that SIG or whomever tracks their actual products, they've gotten pretty smart about it. So it's really hard to divert at the manufacturer level. That's tough. But if I wanted to do a thing where I were procuring items, and I wanted to have a steady stream, this isn't just a one-off. Cartels are dangerous. So I would think that although I'm sure some of those connections maybe at some point need to be explored by federal investigators, I'm like, guys, don't make me do it. Can the ATF do their job? Please, guys. Hello, I'm giving it to you on a silver platter. Leah from Leah Files, she's working on like a dossier that she's handing over to, I think, that fraud investigation thing. So I'm going to see if a lot of this information can end up going into that. I've chatted with her just a little bit about it, but she's such an excellent investigator, and she's going to be submitting some stuff. So we're working on seeing, what also can be submitted just from kind of a background standpoint. But again, stuff that's all in process takes time. My feeling has been, it felt to me as though an operation like this, maybe that they would not want to work with the cartels. That's possible that they do, but the cartels are not as often in Nebraska. Coeur d'Alene. Wait a second. Is the chat fine? Can you guys give me a thumbs up in the chat? Because I saw my mods, some of them are saying something. I don't know. I just want to make sure everybody's good. Like, no Pastor Rob's in here. No Sailor Moon behavior in here. Otherwise... One sec. Let me just make sure everything good. Everything good. Okay, you guys are just playing with each other. I love that. That's awesome. Feel free. I'm not watching. Don't worry. Mom's not looking. Like, don't worry. But what I was going to say is, if anybody's mean, tell me, please. I want everybody to be good and all things to be well. Okay, yeah. You never know, guys. Do you remember that when poor Ian got didn't he get brigaded, and then Baron got the stream cut? Pastor Rob, friend of the show. So what I wanted to say was that my feeling, my sense personally, this is just me, is that it felt unlikely that they would want to take this sort of risk in dealing with cartels. That was just my feeling. Now, I'm not saying that this necessarily is the case or isn't. And I'm certainly not suggesting that Turning Point would ever work with the cartels or the mob would. I would never suggest such a thing. But if you have an entire network of individuals who have direct access to folks that are sometimes down on their luck. I mean, what do we think of when we think of our pastoral networks, the good ones, the actual ones, the real ones? What are they so often doing? They are there in order to, give food, give clothing, give shelter. I know for myself, me and my mom, we volunteer at a church on usually on Wednesday nights, but somebody's off for the day. It's me. Okay, all right. Being naughty. But I'll go on Sunday. I feel bad. She's probably in the chat. Mom? No, I'm getting out of here in time. That's a lie. I'm getting out of here in time, so I am going tonight. Just kidding. But anyway, so, we go and we do that stuff. And so it had occurred to me that we often run into folks that need help, that would benefit significantly financially from something like, I don't know, here's $10,000. I need 10 ARs. Now, certainly, if the individual can purchase them for $5,000, then you get to pocket $5,000. This is a pretty normal way that straw buyer networks work, but usually it's the individual who's doing the purchasing that provides the initial funding. Well, it occurred to me if we were talking about an operation like this, that funding would obviously be available to them from the beginning. And if you wanted to have individuals who would take a risk like this, then maybe folks that are in a season of hardship, certainly financial, as so many people are, but individuals that really could benefit. There's a lot of people that could benefit from an extra $5,000 or whatever the case may be. We know exactly. Oh my gosh, you guys, this one, you read my mind all the time. What if we heard about the ways that individual may or may not have been somewhat kind of predatory toward vulnerable folks? Well, gosh, maybe it wouldn't be that hard to say, hey, Pastor whomever, hey, Pastor John, do you have anybody that maybe could use a little bit of extra money? Don't worry, they don't have to do anything. All they have to do is obtain a perfectly legal FFL, place an order for 10 units, and leave them on Thursday in this hangar. And then an aircraft comes in at 1:30 in the morning, or whatever the case may be, to that little not abandoned, but unmonitored airstrip, and that's literally how they turn on the lights. There's no one there. Pick them up, fly away. You're in and out in 25 minutes. Even if the FBI or the ATF were waiting on the tarmac for you, guess what? You do a touch and go, and you're not even landing. more likely you are only spending 25 minutes because then you could just grab what you need. You don't turn your engine off. You don't cool it down. You don't spool down. You don't do any of those things. You literally do a rolling stop. You do a California stop and boom. Does that make sense? And now we grab the box out of the hanger that someone just happened to leave open, right? A hanger that you can rent, or I mean, who knows? I'm not prepared to say if I think that they're in those hangars. I have certain hangars. I'm like, guys, the amount of background research. That's why I want to be Daisy, so I could just be researching all the time. I'm looking at hangar lease contracts, like, you know. But if you as the individual, and so the Learjets, those Learjets in particular, which is that 582 mm, the one that they stopped flying, I think it was a week after Baron discovered that tail number. Anyway. That one in particular, that kind of Learjet, that one, this is an estimate. I did ask someone who flies a similar plane, and I was like, approximately how many, does this sound right? So the thought is that approximately that sort of Learjet would be able to accommodate 30 units at a time in total. So think about that. Like, say that you, I don't know, stopped at McCook. Say you stop at Coeur d'Alene, McCook, Nebraska, and somewhere outside Kansas City. And you pick up 10H. Boom, boom, boom. And then you fly them back to, I don't know, South Florida. There's a few drop-off locations. I'm like, guys, as you can imagine, I don't want to give away the game, like, to the folks that are listening. You guys, I'm like, you guys, I want to tell you everything. But it's a sort of information where until I have like the leases all the way through, I want to make sure that I'm aware of which one it is. And also, I don't want to say that it's Signature when it's really Atlantic, even though both have questions. So anyway, as we go and as this investigation continues, that is my plan, is to look into that. I do think that for me anyway, it is enough of a concern that I don't want to give it up as an investigative lead. That's how I feel. I do not want to give it up as a lead. I think that honestly, there's a lot of different directions that this investigation is continuing to take. I'm not doing this by myself. Don't worry. I have other co-investigators, as in other people that are very invested in this. Some of them are names that you know. Some of them are probably people that you've seen, probably people that aren't here, Laura, I want to tell you guys, of course I want to tell you guys so much. Wait a second. Should I tease my hair like a beehive? I would rock in a retro 60. Honestly, you're right. And is that because of my shirt? I feel like, you know what? I feel like that's because of my little top, right? Isn't this like I feel like this is kind of a little bit of an homage. I love that they make tops like this. Anyway, let me not be too much of a girl. Sorry. But I would love a little beehive. That'd be so cute. Anyway, as I go through, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm connecting the leases for those actual private boxes, because those hangars, those are all rentable. Some of them are rented through shell companies. Some of them are rented through corporate companies. And then how can we go through? Is it directly is it directly related to the Sands? Is it directly related to someone else? So as we go through, that's what I'm kind of working on right now. And yes, I agree about Victor. I saw a comment about Victor. I agree. He feels to me like the kind of example. I think that he is extremely important in this story. I'm not making an allegation of wrongdoing, Victor. Don't worry. But I'm just saying that it's very interesting that the allegations, I will call them just allegations, concerns that have been raised around Victor have been around things like exactly this, right? Like exactly this. And around, vulnerable populations and access to individuals who are vulnerable. It occurred to me that the way that he met, allegedly, this is all allegedly, it's all my opinion, but the way that he allegedly met Corby was something to do with some sort of program, and that what he was looking for from Corby was this sort of thing, right? And he was looking to potentially, hypothetically, theoretically, be able to procure 50,000 of these things. I've been doing the math. I'm like, here, I'll give you guys like a little bit of a hint that I can give you guys already. That's good. So the Learjet, which is the little Zoomer that we've been watching, that one can hold 30. Okay. The Gulfstreams, including, yes, the one that Charlie flew in, but I'm not saying that one, I don't think that one, I actually don't. I really don't. Haven't ruled it out. But I don't think that that one ever was making these kind of trips because they were conducting legitimate charter business. They were actually flying Charlie around. So they don't fly in nearly the same way. They're not going to 5 places per day. Like, they're not doing that. They're just taking him from point A to point B in the back, like a normal person. So anyway, but the Gulfstreams, which are a larger plane, those ones on average can hold please. Depending on the configuration, there's 2 different configurations. See, guys, we have our list of airports and our list of boxes and our list of, so it's a lot to go through. I want to say those Gulfstreams can hold 60. Is it 60 or is it 80? Depends on the configuration. I think mostly 60, so we'll say 60. The Gulfstreams can hold 60. 80? I'm like, 60 doesn't sound right. We have to look at the number of times that they go there and how many technically they could be transporting, and we're assuming that they're taking 10, but we did a calculation for 5 anyway. This is how the brain works. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like, I don't want to, because I don't think of the Gulfstreams as being very important in all this, so I don't pay much attention. The Gulfstreams I don't think are that important because the Learjets, which take 30, are able to go directly to the hangar with the larger jets. The larger jets, there are 2 different large jets with our Air Mima. The BBJ, which is the smaller jumbo jet. Like, think of a BBJ is a Boeing business jet. That's a jet that is like, I don't know how you would think of it. Maybe kind of looks like a commuter. Kind of looks like a commuter jet. Have you guys ever taken a commuter flight? When you go there, then when you are on one of those ones in most configurations could hypothetically store around 600. Right? And so if you think about the number that they would be able to transport at a time, those ones can do that. However, there's 2 big dogs. There's 2 big dogs. And one of them, BBJ, not Baby J. I love Baby J, but BBJ is a Boeing business jet. Sorry, I'm just watching the chat. And so just so you guys know, the largest aircraft in that particular fleet of Air Mima would hypothetically be able to hold 2,400. So when we're doing math and we're thinking about what would this operationally would look like, unfortunately, this is exactly what this operationally would look like. It's exactly what this would look like operationally. The little plane flies around. The little ant comes in. I don't know. Is there a good bug analogy? I feel like there is. What do the ants make with the little leaf pieces? Can someone tell me? Oh my gosh. What are those ants carrying those little leaf pieces for? Do they make an ant hill? They eating them? I suppose they're eating them. That's probably right. I'm not what is that called when someone loves insects? Bug food. Cute. I love it. Thank you, guys. What is that? Okay. Can someone say, yeah, it's food. Okay. All right. So never mind. All right. So that's not a good analogy. That one's out. A beaver dam? I don't know, like a beaver dam, or some sort of, what I'm saying is the little minions. Entomology. You guys are so smart. I'm obsessed. Oh my gosh, this is the high IQ. Oh my gosh, I bet you so many of you guys. Well, honestly, if you guys met me through either, if you guys are in the high IQ outfit like me, if you guys met me through one of our other like wonderful streamer communities, investigator, creator. I'm going to have to workshop that. We'll get back to it. I was thinking like Kasia and Coach Colin and Danks. Well, no, Danks I would say is more investigator. Creator? What do you want to call it? I don't even know. Anyway, if we met through one of those platforms, then I'm like, of course they're high IQ. If you met me like through Stu's platform, of course you're high IQ. You know what's going on. So I'm just assuming that I'm, these are not 100 level classes. These are 200 to 300 to 400 level classes. These are, this is the advanced course. I understand that. But I know you guys got it. And I know you guys, like, as soon as I tell you guys about it, then I can tell by sometimes like the emails that I get, I'm like, they're so smart. Entomologists. Thank you. Like my brain is broken and you guys knew that. See, Team nerds unite. Like we all have our little piece of the puzzle. So anyway, what I was going to say is that if we're thinking about the number of trips that it would take realistically for someone to obtain that sort of effort, you know, like if we're talking about 50,000, think about what that would take. An average time that a smuggling ring, you know, seems to be able to be sustainable is usually 36 months, within 3 years. We know through historical cases that that's the average amount of time before the jig is up. In my estimation, it would appear as though about 18 months ago is when the effort, I think, you know, if it did, started in earnest. That appears to be, you know, February 2025 is really when it heated up. And, you know, the flights and the ways that they were behaving and the aircraft that were being used and this pattern of these little ping flights, then a transport on like a BBJ back to the main hub, then the main hub collecting probably around, I don't know, maybe 2,400 units and then flying them overseas over and over and over. The saddest part to me, guys, is how much they sped up after Charlie passed. Oh, did someone say that they found a house associated to it? I hope so. Is it a business or a house? Can someone tell me? Because if it's a business, right? If it's a business, maybe it's a sporting goods. This is how we're thinking of it. The cemetery thing is weird. That's on the FFL website. But if it's not, and if it's a house, good information. If it's a business, then we can hopefully, it'll say sporting goods. So if anyone finds it, please, that would be awesome. You know, if anyone can find clarification on that. Because when I went and looked at it, hold on, let's see if I can show you guys what I saw. Did I close my, oh, I didn't. Yay, one sec. Oh, I did. I'm sad. I closed my Google Maps. Well, if anyone can tell me, because on Google Maps, it was like out in a like a plane, and you could see overhead. But usually, if there is an actual home associated, then you can see just like the Google Map front view of the home, or it'll show like a clear home, or it'll be like, you know what I'm saying, like a normal house. But I was like, this doesn't seem like a easy to run down address. There's no realtor.com or anything like that. That being said, it could be out in the like rural, ex-urban area. That's very potentially possible. If it's a business, please, 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 someone let me know and like send me an email, because that would be good information. If it's a weird business, if it's like a 7-Eleven, then I'm going to be like, are we sure? You know, if it's a toy store, I'm like, what are we doing? But yeah, definitely email me if it's like a toy store or something, you know what I mean? If it's a AT&T. But if it's a little like, I don't know, maybe, have you ever guys seen like a Western store or like a cattle feed store or I don't know. I mean, that would all make a lot more sense for the registration. Now, it doesn't mean that that's what they're doing, right? But maybe Ash Creek Armory, I'm like, maybe someone can call them. Would that be weird? Don't call them. Don't call anyone. Just kidding. Delete that from your brains. Take that out of your minds. Don't you dare. Sorry. But you see what I'm saying is that like, as we start to go through, that's the criteria for me to search for if this person is high risk enough that I think that they need to be searched. Because when we're doing the Google trend searches, and that's also its own process where I'm looking at the specific country in question, the specific terms in quotations, remember that, guys, and starting with a period of 5 years. And then we want to check the country to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. And then depending on, you know, if it does appear that this truly is a isolated result of a non-public person, of a private person in the correct language, then we start to narrow down by city. And then at that point, Jerusalem has been a particular interest. I'll just say that. It doesn't mean that there couldn't be searches elsewhere. And that they would be less or more relevant. Let's consider the fact that the airport that they fly into is located in Tel Aviv versus Jerusalem. Anyway, you guys see what I'm saying, right? That's why I always try to make sure that I give you guys my background and my thought process about why it is that I'm looking at the stuff that I'm doing. And do not contact anyone. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are the best, I'm telling you. this is an interesting comment. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is the high IQ hangout. I don't care. You guys are so smart. Okay, so Texas Party of 5, it's like blacked out. But down the road, you can see the building clearly. Okay. Interesting. Well, at least it's not a cemetery. That'd be insane. That would be insane. Wouldn't that be so obvious? Like, why would you ever use like a cemetery? But if it's a building, look, I'm gonna have to chew on that one. Because, if it's a building, if we're talking about a home, well, some people want their privacy. I'm like, is there any other way that we can find it? So yeah, this is why we're crowdsourcing it. So thank you guys for doing that with me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we are soldiering on. I just want to make sure that I'm seeing the stuff in the chat. You guys are so good. You guys are just, you're so on top of it. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Look, I don't want to put that on the screen, but I read it. Texas Party of 5. Good. So that's where we're at with trying to go location by location for these unusual locations. I'm like, guys, if you guys want to find something, you know what I've been working on that I cannot fully, I'm just going to give you guys, maybe someone will think that this is fun. Maybe someone will think that this is fun. This sort of research is fun. I'm like, let me give you guys a fun one. If anyone out there can find, so in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Okay. So Jackson, Wyoming is where the city, I believe, is listed primarily. But in Jackson Hole, in Jackson Hole, I have an idea, but I want to work on it first more. Let me keep the Jackson Hole one because I think it's really weird. And also I don't want anybody going in. There's a billionaire involved. Let me not put that one out there. Greenville-Spartanburg, North Carolina. The airport itself is Greenville-Spartanburg. So what I'm looking for is any FFLs that fall within, that were purchased on, like, that will expire February 28th. I'm like, guys, get your notebook out. You guys are so amazing. Okay, South Carolina. I'm sorry. I just made a fart sound. Is that South Carolina? Greenville-Spartanburg? That's the airport. You can tell I'm tired, huh? I was almost to it like very early this morning, so the brain is off now. Yes, Greenville-Spartanburg. So that's the airport. Nothing wrong with the airport. Airport's fine. Flights are weird. So what I'm interested in is finding out if any FFL holder in that area falls within this kind of criteria, where specifically they are, it's a license that is up for renewal on February 1st, 2028. So like specifically that date. If you guys find ones that are in June of 2028, tell me, but I'm pretty focused on February because there's a subcategory. I'm like, of course, guys, we're working on this whole thing the whole time. Greenville-Spartanburg. I thought it was North Carolina. It's South Carolina. It's either way, they're Panthers fans, guys. I don't know. Either way, they got to be fans of Cam Newton in his prime. Okay, so either way. Wait, they have both Greenville-Spartanburg? It's the airport is called Greenville-Spartanburg. Spartanville is North Carolina. Spartanburg is South Carolina. And both are Panthers fans. Thank you, Sierra. You're amazing. You guys see, this is why we crowdsource. You guys are so awesome. So if we can find any FFL holders. Now, it would have to be an individual. So it's not going to be affiliated with a business. Okay. So there's not going to be a business tied to the license. That's relevant. Or an active business. Could be one if you find evidence that it was shut down previously. Or that they've rescinded their business license, things like that. But generally speaking, if it's just an individual, okay. And if that license is up for renewal, either February 1st, I will take June 1st, but I think the February 1st is going to be it. And also, in particular, certainly, if any Googling were done of any of those individuals, please do not contact anyone. Do not ever contact anyone, please. But if you saw anything weird, like the cemetery thing, then we can at least just know and then rule it out, right? If you're seeing why is it in the middle of a lake? Why is the address in the middle of a lake? That's just weird. So that's just it gives you a little clue, right? And then in addition to that, you would want to just see the renewal day, I did find one I found one in Reedville, but it's a little far. I do consider the fact that like I give it a little bit of a radius. I'm like, I don't want to tell him, Pastor Rob, don't make your people drive too far, but it goes city by city. So I look out and I'll give myself like an hour and a half of drive time. So like I look at the cities and then say, okay, what's within about an hour and a half? Because really they're going to have people drive 2 hours. There's other airfields, And then from there, that's usually where I'm going with it. But the city that I'm still kind of looking for, I guess. And maybe it's just that they just happen to have a donor in Greenville-Spartanburg that they see at 2 a.m. Maybe. You never know. Maybe. But if you do happen to find one, if you happen to find an FFL, if you send me an email, it's on at Escobar Show. And if you haven't hit like and you haven't subscribed and you haven't, okay, normally I would never, I am so loath to say hit notifications, but there have been several people that have told me recently that they weren't getting notifications or that they like weren't aware or seeing the stuff happen or seeing when we're going live. So I feel like maybe that's important. It just feels to me like that might be of benefit because I love talking to you guys and I want you guys to meet me here. Okay, let's see. Yes, do not contact anyone. Do not. Guys, right here. Do not contact anyone. Do not contact anyone. Do not contact anyone. Do not call them. Do not drive past their house. Do not drive over. Do not go and do a quick little, drive-by peek. Do not have your Aunt Susan go drive by their house. Do not call them. Do not knock on their door. Do not, because, well, first of all, they're armed. Like, guys, no. That would not be, it wouldn't be reasonable. It wouldn't be helpful. And honestly, they would know that, first of all, totally inappropriate. We know that. But also, we don't want them to know that we're, right? Like, we didn't want them to know that we're compiling this list either. Like, that doesn't, it would not be helpful. I understand people wanting to I want to solve this thing too. But this is, it's quite the undertaking, but it's also the sort of thing where the more information that we can get, the better. And the more information that we have, hold on, I'm sorry. Whenever I see the mods messaging me in that moment, then I try to look at it. Okay, do not contact anyone. Do not. I count on you guys to be mature and ethical. And I would be like totally not okay with that. I'll say that. Like I would not be even, it wouldn't be funny. It wouldn't be a joke. Like that's not funny. So don't really, I mean it, because these are grown-up topics and I count on you guys to be mature and I count on you guys to be ethical. And also these people are armed. Hello, these are FFL dealers. What are we doing? So don't. Also, by the way, it could give the game away. Okay. So I'm counting on you guys to be mature. And this is all publicly available information. So I certainly, it's all publicly available data. We never want to cross that boundary and we never want to cross that line because that would infringe upon our own ethical code. And also it can be really, really bad. But I do understand wanting to fuss around. I'm like, okay, all right. But guys, it'll be party's over. I'll get upset. So anyway, what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that we went over that. If you guys happen to see anything like that, it's a good place to look and it's a good thing to look at. It's a database. These are publicly available databases. That's all I want from you guys is that, or you just show up the next episode and I'll have like probably the list. And I hope so. You guys are here to like learn about this stuff and learn how to be able to investigate things on your own too. And so I just have noticed that people do want to like be helpful. It's an interesting little thread that we're pulling. That's all. But yes, that is absolutely the firmest rule. And also, yes, yeah, just email me. That's fine. You already know. Also, write everything down. It's important. And you do that continually. If this is, and so to my mod squad, if it's an emergency, tell me on here, please. But otherwise, I'm going to look at it after. Okay. Because I do count on you guys. We're working on it. We're on live TV is what it feels like, but I know it's not that. What I was thinking was I am going to Norma. All right. Have a good night, Norma. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through super chats and answer any questions that I humanly can. And then we're going to call it. I can't believe that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys. On Friday, Allie and me, I'm like, is Allie in here? Allie, are you in here? Hello? Watch her be like, watch her still be in here. Allie, please, I love you, please. We love her very much. If Allie is still here, I'm like, call me. And what we're looking at doing is we wanted to make sure that we watch the debate. Because oh my gosh, guys, the debate is going to be so good. I cannot wait to watch it. I cannot wait to watch it. The big debate between Candace and that human ashtray. We don't like him. He's rude. And I don't like the moderator choice. I don't. I'm sad about it, to be honest with you. But I understand because she didn't have a choice. Like, it's not like she could choose, you know, but I wanted something else for her. But then again, first of all, toughest cookie of all time, right? Like, she's the toughest girl, like, on the block. But also, she is a pregnant mother of 4 and a half, you know, pregnant mommy working on a very, very, very important investigation that is super scary and important and a really big deal. And now you have to go and fight with a human bar stool. Like, ugh, it's awful. And then you have to get it moderated by the only annoying Persian person on earth. He's Persian, right? He's like Persian diaspora. I grew up with a lot of Persian like besties. And you know, Iranian too, both. Lucky enough that I got to have both in my life. And they're amazing. But PBD is the one annoying one. So she has to have that guy moderate. I'm so sad. Anyway, what I wanted to do was I wanted to read through supers and then we'll get out of here. Look at that, an early evening. I love it. Makes me so happy. Okay, let me go through. Team Small Potatoes. Thank you, Smoke Paprika, so much. Team Small Potatoes, love your work. Keep going. Yes, we will. We are the team. We are in there. I'm like, is that going to be our little, I don't know. We'll have to workshop that as a little symbol. I'm going to try to close other tabs so my computer stops lagging. Say a little one for us, guys. Say a quick one. We're still here. Okay, that's good. Okay. I'm closing other tabs. Thanks, guys. So, yeah, we still made it. Thank you so much, Smoke Paprika. That's so kind. Yes, Team Small Potatoes, TSP. Merch coming soon. Just kidding. I don't know how does anyone do such things? Although I was thinking about it, and people have had such cute ideas. So I don't really know. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but I can't wait to figure it out. I was telling Allie, I was like, you should have little flamingo merch. Wouldn't that be fun? I was thinking like loungewear. You know, I'm wearing sweat shorts right now because I've been researching all day and then was almost too early. And I was like, well, they can't see that I'm wearing sweat shorts. I think it's okay. You know, thank you so much, Lindsay Ray. Mic drop. Exactly. That's what we always aim to do because we want to figure out what's going on, stay 10 steps ahead of them and know what we're doing. So thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that so much. Oh, hi. Oh my gosh, these are my favorites. So these are some of my favorite names. I love you guys. You guys are so awesome. Lindsay asked me such a great question the other day. I remember that. And then Lemon Curd is someone whose comments I see go by in the chat. I'm always laughing. Sunshine. Perfect. I love it. Oh my gosh. See how lucky I am? Kate Investigates is the best. I'll take an uncle alert from her any day. She's so smart. Smart cookie. Yay! Hi, Critter. See, I'm so lucky. Anna knows this is my topic. Thank you, Anna. You rock. Please, as you look so pretty. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that so much. That's so nice. I'm kind of sweaty now. Whenever I'm on camera, you guys should have seen me this morning on Stu. I was like, it was really hot. And my AC hadn't gone through my whole house yet, you know? And it was not good. It was not good. Oh, and then guys, like I said, okay, live TV. I'm in the green room. Critter, I'm like, I think you'll appreciate this story. I'm in the green room. I'm back there. I'm like, do-do-do, you know, do-do-do, just listening, just being like, oh, when it'll be my time to shine. But we hadn't done like a sound check or anything like that because I was almost late. I was not late, but I was almost late. It was close. And so I was just back there and I was like, Well, okay. So then my face pops up on the screen and you guys, I was so close to the camera. For some reason, they had, I don't know what happened exactly to the what's that called? The call, what is it? Producer, production? Usually there's a production person, blah, blah, blah. They get you all set up. Everything's taken care of. You're cool. And you're good. Yeah. So this time I needed to be early. And I know in my mind, I can hear my dad's voice saying, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. And I can hear that voice and I can hear it. And Dad, I'm sorry. I was not 15 minutes early. I was like seeing the clock like hit and I was like, just turn the camera on, turn it on, but then my face popped up on the screen. I was like, what is happening? You guys should have seen my expression. It was just like, because I'm on TV. I'm not an on TV person. So he just laughed and he was like, all right, hold on a second, and he fixed it. Or had the production people fix it. But I was like, this is the worst moment of my life. So anyway, love you, Critter. You're the best. I appreciate you so much. Oh, yay. Hi, Lindsay. Again, I love you. Has CO reached out? Love the show. Go Max. I'm like, well, it's a coordinated effort. Let's put it there. I'm not, but but I don't want to, but rest assured that the work that we're doing is making a difference. That's what I'll say. The work that we're doing is making a difference. I'm really so happy about that. And I'm so happy and lucky to have individuals that are smart and care about this stuff and, are working with different. So I'll leave it there, but thank you for the question. And thank you for the flower. How perfect. You're the best. I appreciate you so much. I wish that I could see what these were. Chester, thank you. Laughing disco. I don't know what it means, but I know that it's sweet. And I remember the laughing disco. I see it in Barron's all the time. Isn't it? Right? People put that one in Barron's all the time. I like that one. That one's cute. See? It fits. We love it here. I got my little sparkle shirt on. A question. Yay. I love it. I have a question. When Charlie was bleep, why didn't his security pull out a blazon? That is an excellent question. I'm driving faster. That's an excellent question. I would argue that the security protocol, I would argue that what I saw was the security protocol appeared to me as though they were individuals who did not anticipate an additional shot heading their way. Because I don't know that I saw any of them pull their weapons. I don't know that any of them did. I don't know that I saw a single life-saving maneuver. I don't know. That is the question, isn't it? I would argue, and folks that know me know this, that this is what I think, is that the only person who appeared to have an appropriate response was Frank Turek in the moment, because he actually hit the deck, he actually looked around, he actually was scared, he actually behaved in an appropriate way. My personal working theory is that the security team moved like they already knew what was going to happen. They moved Charlie. They all went to the car, got in the car. I do not believe personally that Frank Turek, to me, looks like he knew what the plan was, because Frank Turek tries to go to the rear driver door and follow Rick Cutler into the rear driver door. But Rick doesn't let him. Everyone else had a door that they were supposed to go to. Everyone else had a plan. Everyone else, and moves Charlie. Charlie goes in, rear passenger door. Rick moves to rear driver door. Frank Turek attempts to follow Rick into that door, and he can't. Rick stops him. Or, Rick's and Charlie's body's being in the way, stops him. So what does Frank do? He hops his little behind in the trunk. And that to me did not look practiced. That to me looked authentic. And my current working theory is that Frank Turek was not supposed to be in the car on the way to the hospital. I think that they had a lot of stuff that they were supposed to take care of during that 6 to 8 minute car ride. And that because Frank Turek was in the car and had hopped his little behind in the back of the car, and you can't tell Frank Turek to get out of the car without it being really weird. They probably said, Frank, get out. And then Frank was like, why? And then they looked at each other and were like, ooh, never mind. We can't really tell him that he can't be in the car. So they probably said, Frank, we need you to pray right now. Put your head down and pray. Because the way that Frank Turek acts makes me think that it's someone who wasn't up on the story until the last minute, who wasn't up on the story in the beginning, and then maybe was told that he needed to participate in the story, but was not initially part of the plan. Also, if I were, looking for a team of individuals that were going to come in and either plant evidence or destroy evidence, I probably would make that a part of the security team. I don't know that I'd make it a part of the pastoral team. So that's just from me, my current working theory that explains a few things like why that car was left in that condition, because it's really hard to put 32 feet of gauze into someone or whatever, your actual, to plant evidence or to destroy evidence. It's much harder to do if someone else is in that car. So that's my thought about it. It's a great question, though. I would love to know the answer. Has anyone seen Rick Cutler? Great question. Justin Davis, we saw your name on Fort Banana. Has anyone seen Justin Davis since then? Thank you, Critter. Oh my gosh, yay. Okay, to whomever it is that joined our Team Small Potatoes, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. We have a lot of fun. We learn a lot and we have a good time. And we're partying, guys, like all the time. Come on. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to meet you. And thank you, Critter. Those are like my favorites when you guys do that. I'm not gonna lie, like I love that. It just makes me happy because all I want is for our community to grow and for more people to feel that sense of like they care about this. They have a sense of belonging, they learn something, and they have a good time. That's what I want. So, hi, QGU. Oh my gosh, love you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Catching up, Anna. You got me at high IQ and Bomb Dog Fund. See, you guys know. I drop my Baronisms whenever. I am going to owe him money for that embarrassing appearance earlier because I definitely probably was off the screen for 4 minutes. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm late, but love having you to watch while the Queen is getting refreshed for Friday. Exactly, QGU. Watch party? Yes. Okay, so I'm forcing Allie to do it. Asking nicely. What is it? What do they call it? Voluntold. Allie, you have been voluntold. Me, Allie, and Rio. What we were trying to do is we were trying to figure out, okay, so should we do it early? Should we do it beforehand, like a pregame? Should we do a post-game show? Should we do like a, because I don't think we can do a watch-along. I wish. That would be so fun. But I don't think we can not because I think that Candace would say no to that, but I bet Andrew would. That would be my anticipation as Andrew will pull that stream. Because he would be very foolish if he did not run that on his stream. Like that would be crazy if he didn't do that. So realistically speaking, in my opinion, that will not be something that we can do. However, my thought is like a post-game show, but I don't know if I need to ask Kasia. I'm gonna ask Kasia if they're doing the thing. But I do know if they're going pregame, we'll probably go postgame. If they're going postgame, we'll probably go pregame. If they're going during the game, we'll probably go postgame. Right? That seems right. Also, I want to do pregame. I do like earlier. Earlier is better, but I am going on Stu. Oh, I'm going to go on Stu on Friday. We have stuff to talk about, of course. He's so wonderful, and it's just so nice to be able to share my information with a lot of new faces. That really means a lot to me. And also, I would say that outside of Candace and Baron, I would say that Stu has done more for this investigation as far as like uncovering new information than anybody. You know what I mean? So he's like right up there with the individuals who are truly advancing this investigation. I think Allie too. Let me throw Allie. There's a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? But like for the individuals that are really driving the investigation forward, and that's not just with the size of their audience, but it's just with their motivation to solve this case. So that's why I love any opportunity that I have to talk to him. So yes, I will be up bright and early, and yes, I will be in the green room mostly on time. Hopefully, please don't get mad. We're trying. Skip the gym. Worth it. Yes, I love you, QGU. You're awesome. And I appreciate you so very much. Critter, my darling angel. I love you. Thank you. You guys are just literally so awesome. Thank you, Alaskan Smoke Girl. Gold coin. I feel like I have to do like a little move every time I see that. Like, I don't know. I have to do like a gold coin, like do like a and a little Anna Kasparian. Has Candace ever done that? You know, the little, you guys know what I'm talking about. We won't do it on the stream. We don't want the stream to get cut. We don't want the stream to get pulled again. Oh, Critter, I love you. Thank you so much for funding my Baron. That's going to go into the Baron Apology Fund. Is what that's going to go into. I'm like, only one of us can have this. Just kidding. I hope that it's you, not me. Oh, man. Oh my gosh. Live TV is hard, guys. No one told me. I would prefer to write a paper, but then no one will see it. Do you think that they want to clone Daisy? I'm not a clone of Daisy. Do you think anyone else needs a Daisy? I don't want to do this. I do. I love it. I love hanging with you guys. So it's worth it. But it would be so nice if I could just be in my little PJs. You know, guys, so just so you guys know, like I said, anyone who knows the lore, what episodes did we start with Baron? The first one. We have been with him since the beginning. Have we been with Candace since the beginning? Yes. I saw her to my friend Charlie Kirk video right then. And since then, I have been locked in on a daily basis. I wasn't doing it publicly. I was doing the behind the scenes thing where I'm just sending them emails, researching, you know, doing the whole kind of like, I think like Allie's story. I think it's kind of similar. Although she got brave a lot sooner than I did. For me, my feeling was genuinely that I wanted to be brave. I wanted to put myself out there. I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to be a part of it, you know, and I was trying to contribute. And just like everybody is, when the war started, I was really stressed because my darling, some of my, so anybody that knows me, I'm in healthcare leadership. That's like what I do. Some of my wonderful, wonderful employees, I'm sorry, I'm getting an alert that I take. Guys, remember to my darlings. Okay. If it's an alert, if it's a super important one, please send to me. Otherwise, I will pause every time because you guys my mods are so important to me. So just so you guys know, if I pause, it's because it's important. So thank you guys. But what I was going to say is that I'm in healthcare leadership. That's a lot of what I do. And what I have observed is that I have a lot of wonderful, wonderful employees that it was just really, really hard for them because, you know, we happen to have in healthcare, as you guys can imagine, we have a lot of folks that will be here from a different area. And I'm like, I won't get too into the weeds or anything like that. But when the war kicked off for me, I had to prioritize making sure that my employees that were in these specific situations based on their family's location, based on the locations that they were from, you know, I had at the time a great deal of Palestinian employees and Jordanian and yeah. So priority for me right then, like end of February, when I was thinking about I should just make a pod or whatever, it shifted my priority a little bit because, like I said, I have a large population of that. And so making sure that everybody was at least okay. These things have time frames and timelines. And so I put it off for a little bit longer. And I wish that, you know, I mean, actually, I have no regret over doing that because it's the right thing to do. Once everything got sorted out, that was when I decided to kind of step in the fray. I had planned to have like just a fun summer, you know, but my life changed a lot when Charlie passed away. It really, you know, for me anyway, it was just such a big deal that something that I very much like, you know, dedicated myself to. And I thought to myself, you know, you got a choice to make. You can either go have fun, just have a fun summer and just go play all summer and whatever, and, you know, just enjoy yourself, or you can really try to help solve this thing. And so I made my choice. And that's what I want to do. That's why I'm here. So fingers crossed, you know, I think we're getting somewhere. But anyway, I just wanted to give that little bit of background because that's kind of what your girl's up to. Yeah. And that's why I know that it feels like I came out of nowhere, but in my head, I'm like, guys, if you go back to Baron, like episode, I think 2 is when I started super chatting him. Cause I remember when Allie Top Files would be super chatting him and like, and I'm in there like, no, Baron, have you taken a look at this child number, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's me, guys. That's literally me. Like, so I've been around this investigation the whole time and investigating it independently. And especially once the ceasefire, that really helped for my level of comfort with focusing on this instead of focusing on that. That for me was the right fit. And I just said, you either step forward now and you help to figure this thing out if you can, or you don't. And I like to think that Americans are, and all people, but, you know, Americans are, we love our country and they underestimated us. And so I thought you either do it now or you don't do it. And who knows what'll happen from there. So you do it now. So you be brave. So here we are, pulling a Baron. But well worth it. Not the worst comparison to get. Thank you so much for sending that, by the way. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the flower. You are so sweet. You are the best. I appreciate you. What is this? Sorry. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Trigger Smart is in the chat, guys. Everyone, best behavior right this minute. Hey, Matt, how are you? Hi. Hey, guys. Let me see. I was on the other. Okay, everyone. Say hi to Matt because he's awesome. Hey, Trigger, how are you? I'm so glad. Now the chat is moving and I can't see where we're at, but hi. He's so smart. And also one day he's going to help me get my camera working properly. No time like the present. No, Matt is incredible at things like making sure that other, and us little small potatoes that we all feel like we can actually have someone who knows what they're doing on computer and tech to help us. Absolute W, absolute legend. Guys, I know that my footage pretty much is shot with a potato, but guys, you should have seen it before. I was like, Matt, what kind of computer, what kind of cam do I get? I haven't gotten the nice one. Like I said, it's on the list. It's that, it's the equipment list, and then we have the class list. I think, yeah, fine. We'll get the equipment first. I really want to take that class, that the OSINT class, but investing in making sure that you do have a good way to communicate with people, that's important too. So I respect it. You know what I mean? Let me finish through these lines. Thank you so much. Thank you, Erica. This is our good Erica. Please do not confuse it. This is Erica with a C. We love her, and she's amazing. Thank you so much. Cheers, honey. I wonder what 658 means. Probably, does that mean you're a Leo? No, Gemini. That's just a guess. You'll tell me. I hope so. I love seeing little follow-up messages. Hey, San. Finger heart. I love it. I wish that I could see these. I see them sometimes go by. Thank you, Laura, so much for adding people to Team Small Potatoes. Yes. I'm we are small, but we are mighty. Okay. Yes. So thank you so much for doing that and helping bring people into our little crowd. I really, really appreciate it. Those are my favorite to see, to be honest with you. Oh, thank you, Housebroken AF. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Can we just take a moment can we just have a small clap for the username? That's amazing. Housebroken AF. Does that mean that that's a very well-behaved person, or are you actually a dog? I don't know. Keep your secrets. Guys, I speak in meme half the time, especially when I'm tired. Oh my gosh. Little sister, not to be critical. Oh, yes. Okay. Comes up is a farmhouse. Thank you. So it's a farmhouse, huh? Did we decide that? Okay. Yeah. As long as it is, so were we able to find it unblurred? Because, farmhouse is interesting. Thank you for this, little sister. That's exactly the type of tip that I love to get live. Okay. This is, hold on. Let me look at my little listy poo. 419. Okay. Because again, so pieces of information like this are super important, and I really appreciate it. So a cemetery, yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, that FFL being tied to a cemetery, that's weird, right? It could be that, again, when we're thinking about, is this relevant? Is this normal? Is this excusable? Now, it being a cemetery, that would be very bad. That would be very, very bad. And it being a house is better. A farmhouse is better. Ideally, we are looking for a business, but that's okay. It's still less bad than a cemetery. At least a person is alive, which he would appear to be. He was posting last year. So I was like, can you imagine if they actually used a deceased person? That would be insane. The first thing I do is go and check their social media to make sure that they're a regular person, that there's someone with that name. I know a lot of people are private. And again, we have to think about what makes something more likely to be a problem or less likely. And then once we can rule it out. So with their home being a home, it's that's not great because it should be a business, because they say that it is their primary business. But you know what, Travis, maybe there's hope for you yet. So let us know. And also then be careful, because someone's Googling you in Jerusalem. Bless it. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Mr. Magoo. Okay, fine. Guys, you guys are gonna have to remind me. Oh, okay. Speaking of embarrassing stories, hey, Mr. Magoo, by the way. Guys, speaking of embarrassing stories, so this morning, so I'm on Stu, okay, and he's talking, so it's showing his face, okay, and so it's not showing my face, guys. I was like, and then the camera went directly on me. Oh my gosh. And I was like, you got a producer back there. How dare you? I was like, how dare you? It was like, and I was like, okay, well, you just, live TV. What can you do? You got to roll with the punches. A lot of it is rolling with the punches. And also, it's okay to be human. If I don't drink anything, then I'm counting on Mr. Magoo to remind me, which I appreciate. Thank you. Thank you, mister. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Beans. I appreciate it. I love these. I love these. This is how the kids do it. I'm trying. Thank you so, so much. You are absolutely the sweetest. I so appreciate that. Oh, what is this? Do you not take it? Wait, who said no way? I just saw a comment go by and said no way. And now I'm like, Oh, you guys are coming up with interesting. What is the question about the rooftop? Someone, please help. Trigger Daddy's in the chat. Someone. Baby J, your moment is now. Time to shine, girly. You got this. She's like, excuse me. Oh, here we go. Baby J, you naughty little thing. Is that a real? Oh, take the. Okay. Guys. Okay. Take the stuff from the rooftop. I was like, Baby J, girl, you are crazy. Like, okay. Take the stuff. The stuff. I bet Trigger knows the answer to that, but I don't know off the top of my head. Oh, here we go. And we have an answer. I think. Oh, here we go. Also, okay, so Trigger Smart, position, ability, and time period available is completely plausible based on testing, but no way to tell who it is or if there is a up there. See, look at that. Look how lucky we are to have, like, come on. I'm like, Matt, just be in the chat always. Will you please? Please help us answer these questions because that's such a good question and the rooftop is interesting. And also I heard that there was a potential that some individuals were going to maybe be testing that a little bit. In my mind, you know what I was thinking, and I had heard this idea floated around. I won't say where or from who, but it'd be very cool to see all of the guys who, they do the stuff. They do the stuff. They know how they're professionals with that sort of thing. How much fun would it be to have them like run tests? Because remember in the beginning, they were kind of testing ballistics and they were like, doing like weapons tests. What if we did like a 30-second, can you change out this? You can tell I'm not a gun person. I don't know how to say the thing that we're talking about that they would do. You know what I'm talking about though, guys, right? Where they would like try to do the thing and they would try to switch out the barrel and the scope and the blah, 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 blah within the time frame. That would be so fun. Like I would pay money to watch that. That would be so cool to be like, and see like all the guys, Matt, etc. See if they could like, time themselves, have a race for charity or something. That would be cool. Watch me do it. Bye. That would be so bad. Can you imagine if we had like one or two of the girls though do it? I feel like there's some baddie like girls who could definitely do it. It's not me. I'm not doing that. I would not. I will hold the timer and be like, yay, great job. But it would be super cool to see the guys do it. And like, I'm like, Rio maybe would do it. Maybe she would. She's so cool. That would be so sick. Let's see. Is panhandling considered grifting? I don't know. I don't think so. No, panhandling I don't think is considered grifting. Panhandling is something that we do if we need some help, and there's no shame in that. It's not grifting. No. In fact, guys, I'm like, on as rule, for Team Small Potatoes, anytime when you have the opportunity, for me anyway, I always do. I keep my little fund, because cash isn't even like real right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whenever you get change, if it's less than a $5, of course, if you are in a difficult situation for yourself, you always prioritize yourself and your family. However, if you should ever, you keep it in the glove box. And then whenever my rule for my entire life that I have for myself, for my family, anytime that you see somebody who needs it, you give and you don't ask questions. Because to be in a position where they need to that level is something that you and I are blessed enough to not be experiencing at that time. So especially if I have ever had a negative thought, like, then at that time, what I always do is I say, yeah, I just had a negative thought about that person. I'm going to give more. I'm going to give, $5, $20. I don't care. Because I really think that it's just a tiny, tiny opportunity that we have to act just a little bit more like Jesus. And anytime I have those opportunities, I take them every time. And put my money where my mouth is. And and especially, I don't know about any of you guys, but I did go to I went to a church that I loved, loved. And they ended up, getting a little greatest ally friendly. So for me, when I've thought about it, I switched churches, but when I thought about it, I thought I'd rather give directly to my brother or sister in life in need than I would to like, an organization that I thought maybe was just going to be sponsoring Aaliyah trips or whatever. But also, of course, if we have times that we're in need, then that's what we would look for our brothers and sisters to do. But that's how I always think of it, is like any opportunity that you actually have. You guys should have seen back when I was doing floor nursing a long time ago. And sometimes the patients are a little, but you have to always remember the fact that you're meeting people on their absolute worst day and and they are not at their best, no matter what. Because if they weren't under medical care, they'd be feeling better, right? So we have a lot of those opportunities. My gals in medicine all know, my fellows in medicine too, absolutely. But we have those opportunities to make a decision to, the bracelet. What would Jesus do? He'd give the $5. So that's what I do. So that's just how I think of it. No commentary for other people, but that's like Anna's rules to live by. All right, Pastor Anna's getting off the stream now. Anyway, so, but everyone's different and everyone's on their own journey. So I'm not, I'm encouraging people to do that, but I'm not insisting because everyone's on their own journey. But I hope that whenever any person is in that position to maybe need help, that someone does extend their hand to them. Yeah, that's just a social contract. So, okay, so guys, I'm going to get out of here. And what I'm also going to do is I am going to, wait a second. Do you guys want to talk about this really briefly? I saw a really good comment go by from my darling Chrissy Meebs that I love. Hi, Meebs. Yes, she is even letting him into her home. We're talking about Candace, aren't we? We're talking about Candace and Andrew. He is an ashtray. He is a human bar stool. Ew, he looks like he would stick to the ground. I'm sorry. He's just, he's so, and I don't like him one bit. And this is just me being a brat, but it's true. I really don't like him. Look, he's just, I don't like him. And I don't like the vibe. And I also thought it was really weird the way that he was talking to that girl. Now I know that he had that fight with that girl, and she's like a lib. So, so I don't even know what she said, but regardless, ew, now I'm hearing it in my mind. I can't even say it. I cannot say any of those. I don't know what an SMO is. What does it mean? Is anyone going to tell me? He is an ashtray. Yeah, you like that? He's an ashtray. Come on, right? Like that's the vibe. That's clearly the vibe. Oh, also, friendly reminder, if you're still here and you haven't liked the video and you haven't subscribed to the channel, I hope that you will. I hope you'll think about it. It's a good place to be. As you can tell, you should look at the chat. If you have not had a chance to look at the chat, they're hilarious in here. They're amazing. I'm so excited to be able to sit there and read this stuff. Yes, exactly. I know. And this is the thing. Yeah, see, you know what? Oh my goodness. You are exactly right. Cherie, thank you. Why can't we help all the homeless? TPUSA could really help, and they don't. Exactly. Because, exactly. Cherie, listen. if you were spending $40,000 flying around on private Learjets as a part of your Christian outreach. I mean, when I thought it was fundraising, I was like, ew. But the idea that it could be that they're preaching, that $40,000 probably could have fed someone. That $40,000 probably could have actually clothed someone, could have paid a medical bill for a family in need, could have put food on a family's table, could have actually done something. $40,000 to go and be on a lonely tarmac at 2:30 in the freaking morning for 25 minutes. I'm sorry, it gets me really upset. The idea that this is being done in the name of Christianity makes me sick. And so honestly, my opinion of them is in the gutter. My opinion of them and that organization is in the gutter. And I really do think, and thank you, Sheree, for saying this. I'm like, as I'm ranting, I don't want to necessarily make you feel associated with the rant that I'm on, but you're exactly right. Think about this. You guys fly around on a private jet that probably cost more for you to fly than it did for whatever the check was, because the check had to actually be worth, I guess, if you're fundraising, more than $40,000. And if you were going and you're preaching to people around the country, then you would think that that would be the sort of thing that would show up on the internet somewhere, Pastor Rob, and yet somehow I only see you on trips to Jerusalem. So I'd love to know exactly what part of Christian outreach that is. That's my question. These rings, if that's what it is, these rings usually last on average for 3 years. And I cannot help but wonder, once they have achieved their aims, if we're calculating backwards from 50,000 or whatever, once they have achieved their aims, will Turning Point continue to exist? Or is this the reason that they are keeping Turning Point alive? Is that the reason that they're keeping Turning Point alive? So that they can continue to do this? Is that why? Is that why? Is that the reason that they're continuing to just put that show on that no one watches, that no one is going to watch? Like, no one is watching that. It's not even like it's on a network, so it makes sense if it's just being shown like in a nursing home or in a waiting room. It's not that. This is a show that no one watches. Do you know how many people watch Jack Posobiec's show? Like, ever? Do you know Jack Posobiec has a show? He has an entire show. It's called Human Events. It's on YouTube. He has an entire event, like he has a whole show. It's called Human Events. He's had it for years. That show has never had more than I think there was one video that I think had 20,000 views. Other than that, they're averaging 100, 200 views. What does Jack Posobiec do? What do you do? What is your job? What is your actual job? I don't think that I thought that he maybe just had a YouTube channel, just a regular. This is long before Charlie passed away. So what is it that you actually do? Jack Posobiec, Agent Poso, someone who was posting about Fort Banana 4 months before Charlie passed away. You were posting about Fort Banana, but now you never heard of it. Okay. And don't even get me started on Andrew. That's my real nemesis. So you guys know that I'm. Anyway, I was going to say that, I don't know what it is that they are trying to accomplish by having that show continue to exist. But what I'll tell you is it doesn't feel much to me like Christian outreach. That's for sure. And it also doesn't really feel like it's a effort that they expect to succeed. In fact, I would argue that the amount of times and the frequency of the flights that they are taking still up through within the past couple of weeks, it tells me it's panic mode, it's panic time, and we're trying to complete this mission before everything falls apart. That is what I truly believe, is that they want to complete whatever the mission is before it falls apart. And then I guess Pastor Rob can go flee to Jerusalem. I get mad. Okay, I'll stop now. Sorry. For a banana. I love you, Jeannie. You're amazing. You're the best ever. I love you so much. Sorry, guys. I get really mad when people pervert religion. In my opinion, I think that's so ugly, and I don't like the idea that people do that. It just makes me really, really frustrated. Thank you, Banty. Exactly, Jammin. Exactly. Yeah, that's so cute. Banty is a really cute name. That's so stinking cute. I love it. Yeah, that's my. Is that my trigger? I don't know. I don't like people using Christianity to try to do stuff and if they're doing this, and by the way, even if they weren't doing this, they're clearly not doing anything right. No offense, in my opinion, allegedly. But I'm just saying, like, how dare they? How dare they? How dare they? Does it seem like a Christian organization? And does it seem like one that should be around our kids? I don't like it. I don't like it. And at this point, I wish that they would just disband. And I think that they do too. Jeannie, you make me so happy. Guys, I think that they want to disband it too. Do any of them seem happy to be doing this? Do any of them? Now, we haven't seen Erica. We have not seen EK. Oh my gosh, this is the funniest. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. Bye. You're so funny, Chrissy. Hilarious. What I was going to say is that what are they doing this for? Do any of them seem happy? Do any of them seem as though there's any true joy involved? I mean, and I thought it was just standard nonsense. I thought that it was just standard corporate laundry. What do you want me to call it? I mean, I know that there's a ton of red flags associated with their entire business structure. So I do know that. I also know that they seem to be engaging in quite a bit of mischief, but I thought maybe it was just IRS related mischief. You know what I mean? I thought that maybe it was just like stuff that would get their 501c rescinded. I thought that it was maybe just like stuff that was going to make them look bad or have their status as a charity rescinded. I thought that, you know, there's that. But guys, remember that endowment fund, that $81 million endowment fund. When Leah, if you guys have not watched Leah Files on Stu, she went on Stu Peters. This is like last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, week and a half-ish. It was right as we were kind of starting to unpack this stuff. And so Leah Files came on. She did like an hour or so with him. It was amazing, by the way. Like, hello, like, oh, she's my hero. I love her. So she went through and she looked at the finances. If you have not checked out her Substack, I think that she has a YouTube too. Let's peer pressure her to get one if she doesn't. But she went through all of the financials. She's incredibly, incredibly brilliant. She is someone who, you know, investigates like fraud, and she, you know, she's got a great background in finance and in fraud and all of that, you know, investigation. So they talked about it, and there's an $81 million slush fund. Those are my words, not hers. Allegedly. Just saying. She does have a YouTube. Yes. Okay. The Leah Files. Yes. The lead. Thank you, Nash. Yay. Oh my gosh. Wait. Oh, I hit the wrong one. And yes, you're exactly right. This chat is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It so is. Thank you so much, Nash. The Leah Files. Yep. On Substack and yep. On all platforms. She's incredible. Brilliant, brilliant, beautiful angel. And so she goes through and there is the endowments fund. It's sitting there with $81 million. So if you needed the kind of overhead to pay for these trips, to pay for this preaching, or to pay for that sort of thing, you know, when I've worked through the estimates on how much that entire operation would cost, you guys want to know what number it told me? And this is with the help of AI. There was some math going on that was not coming out of here. But I use sometimes. I like Google. I like Google's AI if I'm going to use one. I try not to. We don't want to outsource our thinking. When it comes to complex calculations, I happen to like that one. I also use the one that's in Microsoft Excel, which is not super. It's fun, but it's good. It's solid Copilot. Yeah. Anyway, what I was going to say is that depending on the type of item that they were sending overseas, and depending on the total quantity, $60 to $80 million for that operation. That was the number that it gave me. And that includes, so 60 would be if they were on the low end. If they were on the low end of the type of purchase, if that was the item purchased, you know, and they were thinking that this was being calculated in bulk and and they were kind of making it, you know, so that they were able to, you know, minimize the amount of spend, around 60 million, because that was accounting for the jet that was doing the pickups too. The total overhead, including the if it were 3 to 4 of these small Learjets, if we were calculating out a time frame, like a timeline that was like looking at about 36 months, 24 to 36 months, And we're looking to procure these kinds of items along with all of the additional overhead costs. And if we got the nicer end of it, $81 million. And I've been thinking to myself, boy, that's fascinating. That is fascinating, because where do we know that $80 million is hanging out? In that fund. And the other thing to think about is that as they potentially, maybe, if this were happening, if this were the case, they would make that money back, because the actual ROI, the actual amount that they would profit is like $1.4 billion. And I keep thinking about the fact that for some reason they did raise $1 billion or whatever, but where did it all come from? Right? Because it's an incredibly lucrative business, and I'm sure that I know some people that don't seem to need it. And this is just a thought experiment, but it occurred to me, boy, maybe if you were given the initial investment money, the 80 million or whatever, and told, go do this thing that I really want to get done, go get this thing done for me with getting this 50,000 units. Here's the number of a charter service. Go do it. You can keep the profit, because I don't care. Mima doesn't care about the profit. Mima has way too much money to ever spend. But boy, that would be a heck of an incentive, right? And what Mima wants is the items, So it's like, when I've been thinking about it, I'm like, it sounds like just business. Just business. And a man might have lost his life over it. So it makes me incredibly sad. But it's, for me right now, it does feel like it's it's in my working theory, because it's what makes sense to me, considering all the angles. Now, if new information comes to light, I would love nothing more for this not to be true. And again, I don't think that Charlie knew anything about it. I've seen no evidence that he knew anything about it. Because remember, guys, he ordered that Doge audit. He ordered the audit. You don't order that audit if you knew, but you order that audit if you found out. And then a week later, look what happened. And I can tell you that because I love aviation and Charlie loved aviation, that bums me out so bad. But I can tell you, if Charlie had ADSB exchange, or if he had flight radar, he would know that those flights were crazy too. Because they're crazy. They're crazy. And he was an aviation enthusiast. So if he's looking at that, he would have been like, what the heck is this? And like I said, they really picked it up over the summer. Like over the summer, they had gone from this kind of like predictable pattern. It was like every 2.5-ish weeks. It was like, 18 days right in there, depending, give or take a layover, right? And then all of a sudden, in the summertime, right at like, when was it, June, July? Right in there, in the late summer, they picked it up and they went to like every 10 days. And when you ramp it up like that, you're more likely to get caught because it's more obvious, and you have to fly like a bunch. You have to fly so much that it's kind of obvious. And so if Charlie saw, he, as an aviation enthusiast, is going to say, why are you going to Tri-County Airport? What are you doing there? Why did you fly into Opelika, but then we picked up Mrs. Smith. Well, why did you drop her off at Naples? None of that makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? And Charlie, as an aviation person, he'd know that doesn't make sense. And he'd be like, was everything okay with the flight? You guys were flying at freaking 17,000 feet. Were you guys fine? How you feeling, Rob? Did you have a tough flight here? You flew at 17,000 feet. It's like the sort of stuff that he would pick up on if he's an aviation enthusiast. He'd pick up on that. And so if, I think it's probably worth thinking about. Yeah, exactly, Jay, exactly, baby Jay. He's a pattern person. Yep, you'd spot it. So I would not be surprised if he spotted it. And to me, in my opinion, if I spotted something crazy like that, I might order a Doge audit. I might say we need to do a Doge audit because I need to know where the money is coming from. I mean, we think about the amount of money that he had being spent out of the organization. There were questions about, and there were questions. We're talking about an organization that is raking in hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Hundreds of millions at the time of his demise, hundreds of millions of dollars. When you're thinking about how much money that he was concerned about that potentially wasn't there, I think that it was something around, wasn't it like 6 million? Sorry, 6 million. I can't control what number it is. I would have sworn that it was around like 6 million that was like potentially hypothetically diverted in some way. And so if he was worried about that, I do understand, but he would have just said that he was worried about, the financial component in that way. But why would he be worried about where the money was coming from? How would you not know? When he got the phone call in the Hamptons from you-know-who, the prime minister, you-know-who, didn't he offer him something? He offered him all this money. Did he offer him that money to build TPUSA? Is that what the money was for? Remember how he was going to get taken to the next level? Is that what the money was for? Was to make Turning Point Izzy? Or was it really a deal with the devil? Hey, we've been successful at doing this thing, this effort. Let's take it up a notch. Could have been, I don't know. I don't know the answer yet. So, love you up to enough. I loved hanging out with you guys. It was so much fun. It's always my joy. I miss doing this. I'm sorry, guys. It got to be to a point where I was going and chatting with Stu like so early, and then I was trying to research. And again, this is a lot of information to parse through. And I'm going to keep doing it because I want to, because I have to know. And I want to roll it out more than anything. So I love you guys so much. Yeah, next level on a spiritual plane. Couldn't agree more. I don't know. It's not great. So that's why, no matter what, we are going to go max. We're going to go max. We don't have a choice. And we owe our fellow American that. We owe all of each other that. And they can't keep getting away with this. Like, sorry, they've done way too much. I had so much fun. Oh, wait, I missed your super. Oh my gosh, Stephanie, no. How did I miss it? Did I? Wait a second, it doesn't show it to me. Oh, yay, I can see it. Wait, it just popped up. Do we know? Okay, Stephanie, we love Stephanie, by the way. Do we know if Victor M has a PJ? What was he flying on going to Haiti? Love you too. First of all, an amazing question. So it would appear that the gentleman DM, he does have a license. He has a pilot license. I need to check what kind it is. I don't think that it's rated for that kind. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that I found those flights. They go into, so here's the information that I think is relevant. So the ways that it's happening, he was flying out of one of 2 airports in South Florida, maybe, allegedly, hypothetically, my opinion, caveat, don't sue me, please. Likely a South Florida airport. I don't think that he was flying it himself, though. I think that he was a passenger, and they would fly into next door, Dominican Republic. Then they go overland into go see Jimmy Barbecue. And so I do not think that he was actually piloting. I would imagine, just so you guys know, I have developed different flight profiles for the different individuals who seem to be the pilots of these different jets. And coming soon, information about who those pilots are. But again, got to cross the T's, dot the I's. So there's one pilot that flies really funny. Oh my goodness. I am like, if I could find out that it's him, if it's him, I have like this one, it's like a flight profile. So this particular pilot, he tends to like, it's funny because like, he takes off super, super fast, which is weird. But then he flies too low, like way outside of normal. He's out of Class A airspace, which is like really low. Like basically think that this guy's like bumping over the ground. Terrible turbulence, okay? This person does not, like, if there was a passenger on board that flight, they would be demanding their money back. Their little thing of champagne would be spilling out of their hand. Like this guy's like flying like a bat out of heck, right? And then he takes off super fast, right? And then he flies, and what I've noticed is that he kind of like varies the speed more than he should be. He should just be, this is a private jet. Like, you know, people are paying, this is a premium luxury, the whole world thing, right? Okay. Why are you flying like that? Why are you flying it like you stole it? Like he literally flies like he stole it. He flies super low, but he flies really fast. Now, if a plane was flying slow and low, if he flies slow, then it's like, well, is there a problem with the plane? Is it just, you know, and maybe this is an inclement weather thing. Maybe the weather was bad, so he had to go down below the cloud. You know, there's these considerations, right? He's flying like a bat out of heck, but it's a variable speed. So he's not flying autopilot. He's flying himself, which is impressive and good. But he's flying the heck out of that thing, but he's, you know, kind of wrenching it. And then right before it's time, he freaking nosedives that thing. The plane's fine, thankfully. But he, you know, it would be like if you were flying with him, you'd be like, like that. You know what I'm saying? Have you guys ever been on a flight when that happened? And like you were like, what on earth? Why are we careening into this like runway? You know, and sometimes they'll do that on purpose if it's like they have a really tight window for when they're able to fly or when they're able to land. There's a bunch of traffic around. Usually that's kind of like, it's like commercially that could happen. It could happen. There's probably a good reason. You find out of the weather, and then you're just like, hold it, you know what I'm talking about? Like that, like it happens once in a while. That's what he's doing now. And he's flying low. What is going on? What are you doing? I call it Stephanie, I call that one profile V, and V is for Victor. Like, so we'll see. I can certainly not, I can say that there's one of these things that's not like another. There's a person who flies one of those planes unlike anyone else. It would take a very long way for us to get there if that's what were happening, but don't think I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. You know, I keep it in the back of my mind. It's just sitting there and saying like, well, oh yeah. And other good news, just business. Thank you so much for mentioning this. Yes, I think that we're going to have a special guest coming up. Yay, I'm so excited. I hope so. I'm really, really hopeful that we can talk. I'm like, guys, can you go beg him, please? I don't want to ask. I don't want to insist, but guys, can you beg him? Like, don't actually, but like maybe a little bit, like maybe just a tiny bit. It would be so nice, right? He did offer. Yeah. He said that he'd come and hang with us. I thought that that'd be super fun. I know that folks that like to hang here definitely love to hang with him. So I am hopeful that that's something that we can coordinate, but I feel bad because I'm like, you do a whole thing, you know, we're just small potatoes over here, but also it's a brilliant audience. They would love to see you and meet you and hang out with you and talk about and yap about this stuff. Cause like what a wealth of knowledge, you know? So I'm like, well, if you ever get the chance to ask him, be like, hey, you know what you should do? Stu, go on a show. Yeah. He said that he's totally chill with doing that, but I don't want to push. The man's busy, guys, you know? So anyway, I had so much fun hanging out with you guys. I'm like, shit, am I missing anything? I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Are his initials TZ? Wait, whose initials are TZ? TZ. Are his initials TZ? Is there something wrong with my brain? Whose initials are this? Someone tell me. No, the pilot. Okay, so Get Crunk. Love you, Get Crunk, by the way, you're the best. The pilot in question, initials are VM. And the guest of honor that we're trying to, I'm like, we're trying to, you know, not bully, just ask nicely, is Stu. Yeah, he has agreed to come and hang with us at some point. And so I'm super excited. That'll be so cool, right? And then you guys can tell me your questions. And then maybe I'll be like, hey, there's super chats. We are going to go through these. And then you guys can ask him your questions. Although he has an entire show that you can call into. Like we like take calls live. It's so cool. And then like we, talk to you guys on the phone. And then it's nice because then whenever the folks have questions, then I can just get them right there. Otherwise, I got to do the super thing, which is fine. I do like that. I think that's awesome. And yeah, I'm so glad. So anytime that I'm like, when should we do it? Should we do it on a weekend? I know. Listen, say a prayer for me one day in your name, Lord. The man's busy, but he's super awesome. We're all, you know what? Everybody who's on the same side of this is a team. I mean that. And I'm like, gosh, you know what I want to do though? It's like with Baron, I'm like, I want to be a better broadcaster first so that I can be like, yes, of course. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I just got to get a little bit more. Stu like does a great job of like making me feel like really comfortable, like with like, giving the information. Not that Baron wouldn't. They would both be great. I will talk to any of these people happily anytime that they want to talk. But everybody's doing kind of a different piece of the investigation. I love that too. I really do. I think it's going to take all of us. I really do. And so I'm like, guys, no, stop. I would be like frozen in fear if I was talking to Baron. I would be frozen in fear, not in a bad way, in a good way, just because he's my idol. You know what I'm saying? He's just so brilliant, and his work on this case and his bravery and his patriotism that he showed when he came out with his initial series on Google Trends, and how much it personally cost him as far as his, concerns. That was what inspired me to be willing to put myself out there too. So I'm like, so say a little one for us, okay? One day, you never know. But otherwise, I will happily. I'm like, guys, can I be the grand jury foreman, please? I don't know. There's got to be a vote at some point. No, you guys are all so good too. Hey, go watch episode 1. You'll see my little super chat pop up. Me and Rio. That's how I met Rio, guys. We were both some of Baron's like first like super chatters, And so we'd be like, woo. And then Allie, yeah, like this is like how we know each other. We are the grand jury. I'm just glad that there's 300,000 of us now. So fine. I suppose I can't be the foreman. That's okay. I'm the OG grand jury. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Pablo, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, this is such a kind gift. Oh my gosh. Oh, Pablo, thank you so much. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough. This is so meaningful to me. Because guys, we got to get a new webcam. Matt sent us the one. This helps us get to it. So thank you. I'm just using my work one. So thank you, Pablo. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Pablo says, I think you are key to the finding out part. Thank you so much. I want nothing more than to help solve this thing. That's what I want more than anything, is to try to solve this and just try to help get justice for Charlie. He deserves it. He absolutely does. And if there's any opportunity to actually identify who those individuals are that need accountability, and certainly to try to figure out so that they don't just get away with this. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of anything more important to me. So thank you for supporting my journey. I really thank you. It's so meaningful. And also my fellow Lakers fan. Wait, Pablo, but you're Pablo. Is this the same as Paolo? Is it Paolo who's the Laker? I'm not great with basketball. Someone's going to have to teach me. I am a Lakers fan, only because, what do they call it? Like someone who like doesn't have a team. I'm like not homeless, free agent. I'm a free agent, NBA fan. So it's like, I just love when players are good. I just love fun stuff. Did you guys see that? Meme of that guy from that tweet where the guy was like, LeBron's never going to go to Philly. I'm never tweeting again. And then he never tweet again. And then you guys, LeBron just signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. And the guy posted the meme where he was like waking up. It's been 9 years. Oh my gosh. It was so amazing. It was so cool to just think about somebody who's like getting their dreams fulfilled. And the fact that he hadn't tweeted since then. He went 9 years. Oh my gosh. And now finally, I'm like, I know. LeBron's an old man and blah, blah, blah. And some people don't like it. Listen, you are going to be able Now, listen, I know as a Lakers fan, I like to think that we, the Lakers, we had the most fun. Okay, I feel like every iteration of LeBron, we get something different. We got LeBron and Bronny, father and son. This is iconic stuff. When was the last time we got a father-son duo playing like at the same time? That's iconic. This is top tier. This is absolutely top tier stuff. So we got the very best one, and now we can give him the gift to Philadelphia. That's so nice. And also, the Lakers are always good. Period. Like, they are the best. Okay, whatever. I know the Knicks. Please, no Knicks fans right now. We're not right now. Enjoy yourselves. Okay. I like the Spurs. I feel as though the Spurs represent the proletariat. I know that's a ridiculous thing to say, but that's how I feel. I wanted the Spurs to win just for the vibes. So it was going to be fun. But I did watch Alicia Keys do that in New York. See, oh my gosh, I bet you that this is how a lot of women sound when they're discussing NFL. Because I'm like an insane football fan. And so if I ever heard someone just being all cavalier about like, oh, I like this team, but I also like that player and I also like this, like I would be like, oh my gosh, and be so annoyed. But I would be like that about football. But here I am being like that about basketball. So Lakers for life. Thank you, Pablo. I appreciate you so much. You guys are hilarious. I had so much fun with you guys today. I really cannot thank you enough. I was thinking about going tomorrow. I tried to adjust the time today because I know Baron ended up going early. So Candace will be off tomorrow, right? Is that what's happening? I'm not totally sure. I don't know for sure, but I think that you guys are so cute. Oh my gosh, Snoops. Well, I'm gonna show it, but just for a minute. We don't sass other girly pops. We don't sass the girly pops. Here's what I will say. Because listen. You know. I'm like, why can't I hide it? Please hide it. Okay, there it's hidden. Okay. As far as EK and the hair thing. I'm like, not me talking bad about someone's hair when my hair, like, I literally, like, jumped out of bed. But here's what I'll say. My feeling about Erica's appearance is that I don't think that she has any friends. That's my feeling. Because she's pretty. She's a pretty girl. She's a really pretty girl. But some of the styling choices in particular, and some of the outfit decisions, and some of the hair decisions too, I think to myself, you don't have any real friends. You don't have anyone who really genuinely wants the best for you. Because I do think that a true friend would say, why are you wearing gold sequins? Or why are we doing that with the hair? Are we doing that? We're doing that. Are we sure? You know, because it's like, babe, you know, the woman has $1 billion and she's a CEO. Babe, we could do something with the hair. It doesn't have to be all that. You could just wear your natural hair. If she wants to have extensions, bless it. That's fine. That's okay. Whatever makes people feel comfortable. I am all about that. But you can tell that it's either, I don't know. I'm like, I don't care to speculate, but it's not good. And so I think to myself, oh man, she doesn't have real friends that really care about her. If she did, I don't think they'd let her walk around like that. And I also don't think that they would advise her to behave this way, if that makes sense. If she really had true friends, I feel like they would be like, you need to go home for a while and hang with the kids. You should go home and hang with the kids. And in a year, we can revisit what we're doing, you know? Go home. You don't have to be the CEO. Someone else can take that role. Stay with your children. They have just lost their father. They need their mother more than ever. You need to be at home with the kids. You need to, if you want to pop out for an event or an occasion, okay, sure. There's a reasonable way to go about this. And if anyone truly cared about her, I truly think that they would advise her of that. That's not what I see. And so it worries me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, but you are right, but we don't want to be mean to the girlies. You know, I don't want to judge. I don't believe in judging people based on like how they look. It's just that there's certain things they can tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll tell you certain things if they are your true friend. Like maybe don't do the gold sequins while your husband's just passed away. Maybe we don't do that. you know? So I thought maybe she was getting styled by Stacey Sheridan. I thought perhaps, I don't know. It felt I feel like she dresses like Stacey Sheridan, doesn't she? Or Lara Trump. Okay, yes. I'm seeing some good ideas in the chat right now. Groomed, yeah, groomed. Right. I do want to, I'm not, you guys know I'm not a fan of Erica at all. But I do want us to save space in our heart for compassion should it be needed. That's usually my rule. But, it also occurs to me that clearly there's something that Candace is aware of that we're probably not. I would say that, she's not my nemesis, though. She's not my nemesis. Andrew is. I know you're up to something. And also, Pastor Rob and Victor. That's kind of where we're at on our nemesis list. But again, I've been trying to develop who is a henchman, who is a goon, who is a actual boss, who's an underboss. We're making the list. We're working on it. That's true. I feel like Lara Trump. Lara Trump is like well styled. Where Lara Trump has sisters, right? Or like, a stylist. But someone who's just like, you are not going to go in public and wear that. I don't know that Erica's getting that. And so that's why, again, it has occurred to me over and over and over and over again, guys, it's possible that the purpose of this turning point business is not what we think it is. It feels like there's an ulterior motive. And why would you continually keep wheeling her out there? And why would you continually keep this business afloat when it would make the most sense for you guys to just whatever this is, not this, change the actual organization, change the organizational structure, change what it is that you guys are trying to do. Become a VC. You have $1 billion. I think that's kind of the line, right? Just become like a Turning Point Investments. Isn't that usually what people do when they can't come up with a good business idea on their own? Fund different other organizations that are going to do the same thing. But why is it that this is what you're doing? There's other ways to make money in politics. They have a freaking super feed right there. They have other options. So why is it that you guys are continuing to, with this charade? I just like to say charade. It's more dramatic. Why are you doing that? And is it not potentially possible that the reason you're doing that is to make sure that you are, that you're able to accomplish your mission? That's your actual mission. That's my thought. That's my thought. So I know they want the donors. Yes, I agree. I've been thinking about it though. They do want the donors and they want to continue with that. But what is the mission? So if Turning Point is authentically a political and religious organization, what is the stated mission? What are the donors paying for? What are they paying for? Because is it political influence? Is it? I mean, what are those donors paying for? It feels to me like there's something else that's being funded. $81 million does not sit in an endowments. I mean, it's like self-dealing and all that stuff. We have to worry about that. But what are they actually paying for? Because without the man, the mission stopped. Charlie was Turning Point. Charlie was Turning Point. Turning Point should not have survived Charlie. That's really the truth. I do understand if maybe they had wanted to fundraise in the immediate aftermath and then disband. And then they could take all their merry billions with them, right? So why continue to operate? You already made the money and everybody just hates you now. Why do that? Start a Christian network, like an actual Christian television network, like CBN or something. Invest in Christian organizations, a new church network. I mean, there's other, there's other stuff that they absolutely could have done. Oh, wait a second. People are being Erica Kirk for Halloween. I'm amazed. Oh, that's so good. I don't have blonde hair. Should we call Rio? Should we tell Rio that she has to be Erica for, no, and nobody better be Charlie. I don't want to even think about that. But what if somebody was Blake Neff? Bye. That would be so funny. Oh my gosh, gentlemen Who is going to step up and be Blake and Andrew? Right? That would be amazing. I'm like, I don't think, oh, I could be the widow. I think I have the right, I have to start smoking like 6 packs a day before I can sound like her. But I could be like the widow. I could be the Dana Loesch. I feel like I have the coloring, right? She has a tan. I'm actually this color. But that'd be fun. I don't know if people would get it. I don't know if it's on the nose quite enough that people would understand what it was. I would have to just be saying it the entire time, and then my voice would have to be scratching as an entire thing. Thank you guys. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Jobo. Cute. Tammy Faye Baker 2.0. You cracked it. That's what it is. You're right. The thing. I saw another podcaster say EK Styles EK. Look at that. No stylist would be that bad. Narcissistic personality disorder. She thinks she knows best. The wedding dress, Madonna 1984. Thank you. Exactly. I'm like, guys, okay. Listen, I never believe in being mean to another woman based on how she looks. So let's just talk about how she dresses. Let's just be mean about what she's wearing because that I feel okay with. You're exactly right. I mean, that's the thing, right? EK Styles EK. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head, Jobo. 100%. Think about that for a second, guys. Is she a narcissist? I don't know. I was always sitting there being like, okay, so is it Andrew or Erica that's pulling the strings? Which one of them is manipulating the other? I can't totally tell still to this day. Although I'm like, there's no shot that Andrew was like, put that pantsuit on. She did. But what on earth? What on earth, guys? I know I'm wearing a button front black top right now, but I don't look like I'm working at Olive Garden. What's with the Olive Garden outfit? And by the way, I'd respect her more if she did work at Olive Garden because then at least she'd be making an honest living. Thank you. Mad. I love you guys. I think we'll hang tomorrow. I know that we'll hang Friday. I will be on with Stu on Friday in the morning, so bright and oily. And then I'm like, I gotta go volunteer with my mom. I gotta go. But we will do that. Then we will do hang with Stu in the morning. Can't wait. Please, everyone, beg him to come over here to Team Small Potatoes. Just for one day. It would be so fun, wouldn't it? Just we ask very nicely. Nicely and politely, and just one time. Don't, you know. And then also we would, never ending breadsticks. Bye. You guys are so funny. Oh my gosh. Runner Doc, you're so funny. Dressed in a wedding dress wrapped in a curtain with sparklers. Thank you. Called it. You got it. So what I was gonna say, oh my gosh, is she a narcissist? Yeah, it's worth thinking about, guys. The chat is so good. I love the chat. The chat is so good. I'm just taking the joy of being able to read. So DNI, don't ask me this question right now. Okay, quick one. DNI says, is a CIA jet deployed with a Hades platform that was 200 feet over UVU on 9/10 right before and right after the fatal moment that took Charlie is going to be exposed? Thank you. Okay. Because you asked, you got me real quick because I always want to talk about the Hades jet. Listen, if you go back and you watch my first episode 1, that is specifically about the greatest allied technology, and we cover the Hades jet starting there. I've done several episodes on the Hades jet in particular. Several. That are specifically dedicated to the Hades jet. I'm all over the Hades jet. What I believe personally is that the Hades jet most likely was not affiliated with the CIA, but rather the DoD. Now, my feeling is that the Hades jet specifically was placed there in order to use their launched effects system. That is how they launch drones out of the actual jet itself. Keep in mind that at that time, both Hades jet, Axle 10 and Axle 90 were flying what I would describe as drop and catch routes. They look like practice routes to me. You could see a pattern of them flying over, launching drones, flying on, turning around, coming back, and picking them up. That's the big dream. It's a very advanced system, as you can imagine. Looks like they've gotten pretty good at it. Nowadays, they fly to one location, the drone takes off, and they meet up with it like in 3 states. Scary stuff. What I was going to say is that the launch effects that I believe that were present on that day at UVU are more than likely small UAVs I think that I've identified them. Maybe I think that one of them was a Rift Wasp. I think that one of them was an AeroVironment Hero 120 loitering munition. I think that the other one was a gas electric hybrid that is primarily made by Anduril, sorry to say. I think that's why we see the plume of smoke in the end. I do believe that, personally, I don't think the drones were there to take a shot, but I think they were there to do ISR, and that's reconnaissance. They were there to loiter around and see what they could see. Then in the moment when they maybe identified Charlie, they were there to actually initiate as a remote triggering device. Facial recognition is a large part of the Drone Dominance, Unleashing Drone Dominance program that is actually in progress right now and has been since the beginning of this Trump administration. And most likely, to me, that would remove the need to have an exfilled trigger man who is responsible for actual detonation and would allow for remote simultaneous detonation, probably using a platform like Palantir. I hope that answers that. Sorry, I just said that so fast. Yes, I agree. Support. Yes. Thank you for this follow-up. I believe they support the efforts on the ground. I agree. Now, and I think that some of us are in kind of different places when it comes to how we feel about if there was actually an individual there who would have been the trigger man, the person responsible for detonation, etc. For me, I have always felt as though if I were really doing a serious high-level, state-level operation, would I actually want to have someone that I could pinpoint as having been there to be the trigger man? Because the most difficult part of an op like that is the exfil. It's actually getting the person out of there. Now we know that they had patsies. We know that they had, individuals that were already scouted the location, and we know that that happened. But my feeling has always been, if I can see the person in the footage, if I'm watching this take place, right? If I'm watching the event take place, and I can look at the crowd footage and I can see the bad guy, kind of defeats the purpose, because now I can see Philip Goldsberry placing that microphone on him. I can see Terrell Farnsworth looking away, or was it Phil Goldsberry who looked away, or was it Rick Cutler who did the gesture, or was it Dan Flood who did the gesture? I mean, who was it, right? Well, if I can see him with my eyes, there's only so many people that are on the suspect list. But if it's Meemaw, I mean, and who knows who was on that actual Hades chat? Imagine it's like, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to try not to speculate. What if it's David Barnea? Okay, that's crazy, wild speculation. Let me stop. Let me be quiet. I have my reasons. I think that anyway. But, if it were able to be someone who were on the actual jet itself, and we're sitting there and you're at 40,000 feet and you press a button and the thing happens, well, that sounds to me like how an actual state level operation works. And then it eliminates a lot of problems. And then realistically, you only have to have a few individuals in siloed roles who maybe would sit there and kind of even know what entirely is going on. You could just have a couple people that, you have your security team who's responsible for evidence destruction and during transportation. Maybe you have your camera team that's responsible just for, all you guys have to do is get the camera. All you guys have to do is get the footage. All you guys have to do is, and then that way the bad guy isn't anybody that they can grab. So I've been thinking about that for a long time. So I'm very much on top of that. That's my feeling about that situation. But who knows? But that's my working theory. And as you know, I work really hard to develop that. But it does also occur to me, I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. I have to also mention one more thing, since you're all here. You did notice that David Barnea was placed as the global head of Ondas today. That's a huge deal. That's a really huge deal. So David Barnea, head of Mossad for the past several years. Now, I thought that he was assassinated during the war. I actually thought he was. I really thought he was, because, listen, greatest ally, they often will lie about people still being, I thought he had been Mitch McConnell. You know what I mean? Because in the beginning, they had treated him like he was Lindsey Graham. So when the war kicked off, they said that David Barnea had been assassinated. They said that. They came out and said that. Greatest ally came out and said that. And the thing is, Greatest Ally is very willing to Mitch McConnell someone. Like, they'll take like years before they admit that somebody's. Remember when we thought that BB was? Okay. So I thought, okay, David Burney is gone. That's crazy. That's weird because he's been on my suspect list for a long time. Any OGs of mine know that he was one of my first Fort Banana positive searches. So he's the head of Mossad. Well, it would appear that he's alive. Then they came out and they said that he had retired from Mossad. That was like June. And they're like, well, he retired. I'm like, retired to where? Exactly. Retired to be to the grave, right? Like, I'm like, so he retired. Now, all of a sudden, he has been placed as a global chair at Ondas. And what's Ondas, you maybe are asking yourself? Well, if you go back to my episode 1, episode 1 is all about all of those companies that we were just talking about, AeroVironment, Rift, Wasp, all of these various drone makers, defense companies, they're all connected through a company called Mistral. Mistral, not Mistral AI, which is confusing, but Mistral is an additional company. It's just an additional layer. Long story short, Mistral is Greatest Ally technology that's being brought into this country by bad guys, by very bad guys. And it's drones. And Worldview partnered with them, with Mistral. They came out of nowhere. They didn't exist. The reason I was looking into their contracts like right when everything happened, because they got their first contract like on September 18th of last year. And I was like, what is this? And I've been thinking that it's related for this entire time. So if you guys go back and watch, you'll see me talking about this. Anyway, what I was going to say is that Mistral is the bad guys from overseas. And now they've decided to become an American drone maker, an American defense company. Great. They are their CEO is a man named Aaron Frankel. He happens to be particularly interesting to me because he happens to be the man who not only was responsible for shorting the entire market on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, but also he is the same aircraft broker who's responsible for flying 1 million Jews to Israel. And when did that happen, guys? Well, a certain man named Jeffrey, if you guys recall, Jeffrey stole and sold a few of our secrets, of our most sensitive secrets, to the KGB. No, the GRU. Yeah. And then, as a payment, they gave him like 1 million visas or something for all of the Russian people to come over to the Greatest Ally. And the man who flew those people, because he is an aircraft broker, is a man named Aaron Frankel. Aaron Frankel owns a drone company, the drones that were at the scene on 9/10. Small world, right? So anyway, they just partnered with Palantir and another spy satellite company called Worldview, and they're making Skynet for America through this new company called Ondas Holdings, which didn't exist before. I mean, I had seen it pop up because I've been investigating Mistral since September. And then I saw Ondas start to pop up and I was like, Ondas, what is this Ondas Holdings? And they're trying to come and compete as a big prime, there's like the prime defense contractors. They're on the list. They're trying to come on and, compete with them. So Palantir plus Worldview plus Mistral is now Ondas. And they're making Skynet with the Eye of Sauron. I'm not kidding. And today, when I woke up today, who is their new chief head of global technology? Anyway, it's David Burney, the leader of Mossad. So here we are. I know that sounds so crazy. Doesn't that sound so crazy? I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. Is my microphone okay? Can you hear me? I feel like, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on. Sometimes we can celebrate. Same people, same group of people. Yep. You guys already know. You guys already know what we're talking about here. Yes, Frankel. Wait, you know about him? Yes, he's the... DNI knows what's going on. That's the boogeyman. No joke. By the way, his son, Josh, remember when there was that article that came out about the fact that Little Saint Teal was spotted in The Greatest Ally. Little Saint Teal was spotted in The Greatest Ally not too long ago because he was there to be a wedding guest of that guy's son. And that guy's son is one of the initial investors in Palantir. It's a big club. I know. Listen, my dream collaboration, and I love you guys know I love Stu, and I adore Baron. That's my idol. If I could pick one person to talk to, the sheriff, John Cullen. He taught me well. Anyway, so I am going to hop off. I'm sorry for that little rant. Oh my goodness. I know that sounded kind of crazy. I'm sorry, but guys, I've been looking at this stuff for a really, really long time. But the nice thing is, I'm like the silver lining that I try to think of is that once I kind of thought that maybe I figured some of this stuff out, once I had kind of figured this stuff out, then for me, it's been really kind of easy to understand it and like see all the things that are continuing to happen. So like, today when I see that it's David Barnea who's taking over and it's like I already have this frame of reference. That's what I call it. It's like I already have a frame of reference about that. Oh boy. So I know when that's pattern recognition, right? Then I'm like, oh, so whenever you guys see the name Ondas, that's Einstein. It's the Island Boys and Aaron Frankel. Anyone who knows about Aaron Frankel is like, those are my people. I love you guys. But learn about him if you haven't. I'm like, guys, I have a horror story to tell about that man. Nothing personal or anything like that. But on the next one, here's what we're going to do. On the next one, I am going to tell you guys a story. Because when I started my channel, yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. DNI, you're on top of it. Oh my gosh, DNI is smart. You guys are all smart, but I love that DNI is aware of some of this stuff. I'm like, I'm so glad it's not just me. Oh my gosh, because I worry about this. But anyway, what I was going to say, yes, it's Skynet. It's Skynet. That's my feeling because they have all of these loitering munitions. And by the way, some of them are munitions. Not great. Not great. So anyway, but we're tracking along with it. And a lot of the reason why I think it's important to I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm crazy. Sorry. Anyway, I have to go because I have to go volunteer. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. I got to go. Okay. I love you guys and you guys are the best. And I will see you probably tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then bright and early on Stu on Friday. Let's do tomorrow. It'll be fun. Let's do tomorrow. I got to tell you guys a story about this person. I can't wait. So I'll see you and so if Baron goes early, then I'll go late. If Baron goes late, I'll go early and I'll see you guys there. And then on Friday, I'll be on Stu. And then after that, we'll do our Candace pregame. Yay. I can't wait. I love you guys. Yeah, I know. Get crunk. We have to look at it. You got to look at it. Go look at it. Guys, I encourage you. Everybody go on the internet. Find out about Ondas. That's your homework. Go find out about Ondas. Please. More people need to know about this and call their senators. It's like call your senators. We cannot let the head of Mossad run Skynet in America. This is America. Okay. All right. And on that note, I love you guys and I'll see you on the next one. Okay. Bye-bye.